All right, lads. I put the countdown clock in last Thursday. Not thinking, I thought that the clock was ticking on our season, and I warned that it would be today, but I really didn't believe it. I thought we would get over the line. I thought it would be a 50-50, but it was a 50 plus one, Sam, and it was against us.
Absolute rubbish, wasn't it? Absolute rubbish from the start to basically till the finish. I don't know. Where do you start?
Well, let's start by welcoming everybody and welcoming Tony, welcoming Sam, yourself. Let's all be nice there.
He's ready.
Hello, everybody.
Stan is going to join us, and Gary's going to join us as well. I've given you a moment now to collect your thoughts, Sam. Where do we start?
Well, you're right. We had a chance. Really, we only needed to get a goal, and we could have won it with one goal. But the way we started, again, how many times have we seen this season? It looks like we're not really bothered. There's no urgency. It looks like they're not working 110%. And today looked like, for me, most of them actually looked like, it looked like Villareal were the team who were just comfortable. They were in control. They were just containing us in total control. Emery set them up really well. You got to hand it to Emery. He knows what he's doing when it comes to setting up defensive tactics. And it just seemed like they were the team who were in cruise control. They didn't, it just looked like we weren't really that bothered. It was such a shame to see that type of attitude and that type of effort from these players. To start off with the lineup, I thought the lineup was okay. I thought it was a pretty good lineup. I think it was pretty much the best lineup we could have, basically, with the players we had available to start with. But again, it's these tactics, it's the way we perform tactically, the way he has us set up to play. It's just so disjointed. It's so cumbersome. It's so tepid. It's whenever we get into that final third, it's like no one knows what they're doing. It's like all that training we do on the training ground. You see them in all those stupid videos, all those little, they're doing those little passing drills, and they're shooting the ball, or shooting drills, and they're shooting those little goals, they're shooting to the big goals. Everything looks so great, running around those poles and everything, plastic poles. But when they get into a game, it's like, well, what are they training for? What does all that training go into? Because they get into that final third, and it's just like they've got no clue what they're doing. It's just like, we'll just try and pass it in there, we'll cross it in there, we'll see what happens. It's just like, we'll just hit and hope and see what's going to happen. It's like there's no plan when we get into the final third. It's been like that the whole season. And that is why we're just so lackluster in attack. Yeah, we had a few chances, and that's what's going to happen in every football game. When you have professional footballers playing a game of football at a professional level, you're going to create some chances. That's what the game does. So, you can't really say, that's a good thing, we created some chances. That is football. But it's the way we set up and the chances we created. Yeah, we had a couple of decent chances to score. They were the only two really decent chances we had. But again, it's just that way we play. It's just so disjointed and cumbersome, like I said. And it's just, the tactics are all wrong. It's all wrong. And I just want to finish off my intro by saying, I've been thinking about this for a while now, and I'm thinking of a good way to explain why I think the manager is so much at fault here, to blame. Is I used to work at quite a high level within health and safety. I've done a lot of accident and incident investigations, and when you look at root cause analysis and things like that, basically, if you've got bad behavior at a workplace or bad behavior or whatever that's causing accidents repeatedly, right? And it's something that's consistent over time. Or you call it poor performance, poor workplace practices consistently over time. That is no longer when you look at a root cause at that is no longer down to the workers. It's a systemic issue. It's the management, because the management lets it happen. The management sets that up and creates that workplace over time, and they let it happen. There's no corrective actions. There's no preventative actions. They let it. The management lets it happen, and this is what's happened with Arsenal this season. Is the players are not playing, they're not motivated, and it's happening game after game the whole season. And it's down to the management, it's down to Arteta, because this is the way he has set up the way we play. The players don't enjoy themselves. They don't feel like they have any expressive way of playing. They want to play expressively, a lot more openly. They can't. They're micromanaged. And this demotivates them. If they feels like they can't be bothered, because they feel like whatever they do, they just can't do what they want to do. And that is a systemic, it's a management issue. And that, for me, puts it really in focus that you have to look at Arteta for this. You have to look at him.
Yeah, I want to welcome in Stan for joining us as well. Stan, thanks for joining. Let's have, as Rahul said here, definitely the end of the road. No intensity, no desire like our league performances. What riles me is Arteta was saying we deserve to win in both legs. How can we speak like this? Stan, what's your initial thoughts on tonight's result?
Well, if you remember the old Stan scales, they were 50-50 when Arteta came in. And then over the past weeks, there's been a shift, isn't there? There was last count, it was about 60-40 against. Well, I can tell you now, man, there's been a huge fucking push today. So we're at 90. We're at like 90-10 at the minute. You know, that's kind of where I am. And as we've said, Ray, you and I have always said, you know, from the day he got appointed, our kind of time frame, a fair time frame, I've always said around October of this year. I think you said November. So we're not far apart. But
no.
You know, I've always said as well that the reason I will back the manager, whether it's Unai Emery or Mikel Arteta, is because I don't want to go through the merry-go-round that Man United have gone through. Whoever Arsenal choose to put in as the manager, even if it's not my choice, I'll back them, because I just don't want this merry-go-round, because another manager comes in, his plans are different, some more players will have to leave, then it'll be this constant influx of no stability. But you know, if you're asking me if I think Mikel Arteta is up to the job, the answer is no. I think the ineptitude now is quite clear for all to see. And I know there's a lot of people out there that still feel that, you know, listen, as soon as we get to this summer transfer window and he's given some money, you know, it's all going to change. But I just look at the Chelsea team under Frank Lampard. I mean, they gave him a shitload of money, right? You know, they spent something like 200 million on that squad, and he had a hard time of it. And now a more experienced manager has come in, the old Tommy Tickle, and you know, he hasn't really made. There's been no additions. If anything, there's some players that have been brought in out of the cold, you know, and you know, deployed in different ways. And look at where they are now. So you have to say that a manager does have a lot of influence on the results of a team. You can't just go out and buy a right back, a left back, goalkeeper, 2 centre backs, 3 midfield, 3 attackers, and then go, all right, lads, you all know your positions, go out and play football. You can get away with it maybe and get some results some of the time, but there has to be more of a plan, you know. And sometimes it doesn't. I'm not sure what the plan is that I'm supposed to be seeing, and it just seems to change so often. You know, ever since Mikel Arteta has been the manager, I've seen no stability in the teams that he selects. And for me, I know that Leno's had a howler for a lot of the games this season. But if you go back to when he was almost our joint player of the season, where he was really saving us and getting us out of brown and smelly, I think it's because back then he had a stable presence in front of him in defence. Whether some of those defenders were dog shit is a different story, but there was a bit of more communication. Now, I mean, I suppose, you know, he doesn't know who's in front of him from one week to the next. You know, who's to the right, who's to the left of him from one week to the next, because there's just been no stability. And that must also permeate with the fact then that players can't build up relationships. And I've seen that Thomas Partey has got a lot of heat tonight, and I still haven't quite seen the reputation that he came in with, because I never watched a lot of Atletico Madrid, so I can't really tell you that I knew a lot about him anyway. I just knew about their reputation. But I do think today that the way that he was deployed, there were times when he just had no one to pass to. And what we're missing is a player like an Aaron Ramsey or a Jack Wilshere who can pick the ball up a little bit deeper from Partey, but then really move the ball forward, can be able to go past players and move the ball up into that last third. And we don't really seem to have that with the way that the players are being deployed.
Midfielders,
and I have to emphasize that, with the way that the players are being deployed, because you could have that. I think maybe someone like an Emil Smith-Rowe could be used in a Ramsey kind of a role to help out someone like a Thomas Partey.
Yeah, we need midfielders. We need midfielders who are going to get ahead of the ball, like Ramsey used to do, arrive into the box late and weigh in with some goals. Stan, we're sadly missing goals. We're looking at Lacazette, Pepe, and Aubameyang to provide the majority of our goals. It's not sustainable.
So just to close out my statement, I think there's a lot that you have to look at over his tenure, from his managerial skills, his man management skills, to even his deployment of funds. When you look at someone like Willian and the amount of money that was invested in him, and how little influence he's had on the season. And the guy's oven ready. He's not come from somewhere else. There's no settling. All he's had to do is cross the street, basically. So, do you pull the trigger now? Who do you pull the trigger for? I still honestly believe that the main factor when they were drawing up their pros and cons of hiring Mikel Arteta, at the top of that list was how much he cost.
Cheap.
Very, very, very cheap. So where do you go? Yeah. Where would you go from here? So
that's part of this podcast, and maybe think about it as we digest what happened today, and we'll get into that a bit later. I want to talk about where do we go from here. Tony, as Rahul said here, he said Lacazette could only be risked for 10 minutes, but our season is useless after this. For me, if players on the bench, he has to play. Otherwise, get a fit player in. And, similarly, we take Aubameyang off as well when we actually needed goals on the pitch. Tony, it's going to come back to Arteta's legacy will be he died on the hill with Willian, Xhaka, David Luiz, Hector Bellerin, and Eddie Nketiah. These are the players that Arteta is going to be linked with.
That's not a hill. That's a mountain.
That's a mountain. That's Mount Everest that he had to traverse. So, Tony, your initial thoughts about tonight's result as well. I got to say, it's probably good after about 3 hours that I've calmed down a little bit, because I was very frustrated. I think all four of us were very frustrated today. And so, Tony, go take it away.
Yeah, to me, it's just not good enough. It knocks us out of 25 years, a quarter century of being in European football. To me, Arteta's like a 10-year-old that got his first copy of FIFA and keeps resetting manager mode, keeps trying different formations, different players. Just stick with something and go with it. He's rigid as hell, but he still keeps changing everything. He sees what works, and he goes away from it. He sees a back three works. He goes away from it. He's seeing that they work better on the left. He goes away from it. It's just everything.
Maddening. It is maddening.
Nothing he does makes any sense.
Steve Denham said, considering Arteta used to be a midfielder, you'd think he'd have our setup perfectly. Instead, there's a disconnect in our midfield. Do not score. Don't assist the forwards. They slow the game down. Stefan's here. Thanks for joining, Stefan. Shambles, disgrace, shocking, crap, awful, gutless. And I added in Toothless, Inept, and Inexperienced as well into the title of this podcast. Arteta doesn't pick his best informed players. He chops and changes all the time for no reason. Sam, this has been slowly sinking into me. I've come to realize this is not the Arsenal that I know. This team does not give you anything to cling to. Doesn't give you any apparent desire or urgency. and the manager gives me little to cling to in terms of the motivation he applies to the players going out onto the field. You know?
Yeah, and I think I just want to follow on a bit from what Stan was saying earlier. He was saying a lot of the same things I was saying, and you know, these players under Emery, a lot of the players. Okay, Emery wasn't a great manager. You know, we just have to be honest about that. And you know, sometimes you just make bad decisions with managers as well. I think we're in a position where Emery was a bad manager. He didn't suit us. The same with Arteta. And that's just the way life is. Sometimes you don't make the right decisions. You take a chance, and that's what happens. But with Emery, at least he had some players going and playing well, right? I mean, he got Saka to play really well. He got Smith Rowe to play well. He got you got Guendouzi to play well. Guendouzi was a fantastic player, box to box player under Emery. We had all our defensive woes and all of that, but he had players motivated and playing a lot of the time. And you know, from Stan said last season, like Leno was one of our best players last season, and a few of the other players were really good as well. 2 seasons ago, Lacazette was fantastic. He was one of player of the season. So it shows you, it's a damning indictment of the manager that you go from that with these players. They're the same players, but this season they're nothing. They're just a shadow of themselves. They're giving nothing. And when that happens the whole season, that to me, you can't just look at the players. It's what they're a part of. It's the system they're a part of. It's not just a coincidence that all the players in our squad are nowhere near the level we know they can be that they've been previously in the very recent past. It's not 5 years ago since Leno was a good goalkeeper. No, it was last season. It's not 5 years ago since Willian was a good player. He was a good player for Chelsea last season. He comes into our system, plays for Arteta. He's a shadow of himself. He can't even do anything. You know, so it's when it happens to all the players, you can't say it's the players because it's just too much of a coincidence. You know, it has to be part of the system they're a part of. And that, you know, to me, it's just this is what Arteta's done wrong. It's like, and Tony said the same thing. He's so stubborn with the way he wants to play, and what he's decided is he's decided to fit these players into his system that he wants to do, and it doesn't work. And this is what I said. I said this right at the start. I said for a manager to be successful, what you've got to do is you've got to look at your squad and you've got to adapt a tactic and a strategy that suits that squad. That's what you've got to do. You can't force players to do things they can't do. You just can't do it. And the managers who do that, the managers who are so rigid, who have their own systems, and unless they can be like a Chelsea or a Man City and just buy all the players they need, like, okay, I want to play this system, so let's buy these 11 players basically who suit the system. Most clubs don't have that luxury. So you're gonna bring in some pieces, 2, 3, 4 players maybe, but that squad you've got there, that core of players, you have to get the best out of that core, out of that squad. And so you need to find a system that suits them. And as I said, those managers are so rigid who come in and say, no, this is my system, this is what I want to do, and they desperately try and get the players to suit that system. It never works. They're the managers who fail. And Arteta, unfortunately, no matter how genius he might be on the tactics board or whatever, he knows all football inside and out. He could probably tell you all the data of every player, you know, their heartbeat every second of the game or whatever. Sorry, the tactics are not working. It's just not working. It's not working for this team, and he can't see it. He keeps doing the same thing again and again and again. He's done it the whole season, and it's just not worked. And that's it. It's just the fundamentals are not there, and we have to move on. We have to bring in someone who's experienced, who's managed a top football club before, and yes, it doesn't mean we're automatically going to challenge. But what I guarantee everyone watching this stream right now, if we bring in an experienced manager, that manager's going to get a lot more out of this squad than what Arteta did. I guarantee it.
Yeah, and we'll save some time to maybe talk about what happens next. Tony, so I'm wearing the shirt of Arsene Wenger's last home game, May 6th, 3 years ago. Seems like a long bloody time now. We've gone through Unai Emery, which I was looking at the game today, and it looked like Unai Emery, like he'd never left. Like he just always having synonymous with the Emirates, I guess. But yeah, 3 years, and we don't seem to have gone forward from when Arsene Wenger left us. And let's not be shy about this. So we were not doing so great with Arsene Wenger. We were on the downward dip. Are we at our lowest point right now, Tony, or is it going to get worse?
At this point, who knows? But we've definitely taken 2 full steps backwards. The players stopped playing for Wenger. They stopped playing for Emery. They don't know what the hell they're supposed to do besides Danny, Gabby, getting shouted at all the time. I mean, I think that's the biggest problem with them is the players have absolutely no freedom because they're getting barked at for 90 minutes and no fans drowning out what the manager says. Instead of just going with a game plan and going out there and doing it, he's micromanaging every minute of the game, and it's just total disaster.
Great point to bring Gary in now. Gary, let's get your initial thoughts. Go back about 3 hours on how you were feeling 3 or 4 hours ago.
Oh, I thought when I looked at the lineup, welcome everyone. You can hear me, right?
I actually got a beer. I got a beer. I thought I'd be celebrating, but I'm drowning my sorrows.
I wouldn't have done that.
Stan has an extra large mug tonight.
Yeah. No, hello everyone in the chat. Hello, Ray, Sam, Tony, Stan.
All right.
Good evening.
Good evening. Yes, let's get
Dispense
this going.
the pleasantries. Spill your heart out to us.
Or is it good evening?
I guess it is. It's not for us. Oh man. So
I was
what do we
picking up
see?
your daughter from soccer practice. Did you flip everybody
as
off?
I told you guys, I was picking up my daughter from soccer practice, and it's soccer because I don't know if this is football. I don't like it. If this is what football is, then no. We are not playing football. I looked at the lineup, and like most people, I said, "All right, I see 6 people out there." That surprised me. The 6 people up front, right? That should be attacking football, right?
Should be.
Outside of Martinelli, that should be attacking football. We should be able to control the game. We should be able to do what we want. Scared of Bellerin. He always scares me. He did not. He didn't. He definitely showed why he scares me. But yeah, after the game, the first thought I had was, I don't want to see any Arsenal players cheering for a goal against West Brom. No way. Only the youngsters should play in the rest of the season from here on out. We're thinking of next season right now, aren't we? This season's done.
Oh yeah, it's done.
We've got youth that we need to figure out what to do with. They had their chance. Today was their chance. Those senior players to go out there and do something. And I mean, Aubameyang, 3 shots. I mean, the 3 shots he took. I mean, wow. I mean, I wanted more from him, but he did have 3 opportunities and they didn't go his way. I think he kind of took the easy route on a couple of them, but I think we needed more from everyone and we didn't get it. I mean, talk about going sideways and backwards. Wow. That's about all we did. And they're at home. They need to score 1 goal. Before we can even talk about what to do next, we got to score 1 goal. And they couldn't do that. Just give me one. Give me one, and then we'll figure out what to do next. And then, once again, I mean, it just played out like any other game. One of their attackers goes out 30 minutes. We still look like they are threatening us the way we were playing. No, we got to go attack. I mean, to me, that was blood in the water. Sharks coming in, let's go and take them out. I mean, as soon as Chukwueze went out, that should have been like open up the floodgates. It doesn't matter. They are not gonna. They are not going to beat us. And even if they score, it doesn't matter. We're still going to score more than them. But no, nothing. No fire, no nothing. And then
28 minutes.
I'm Arsenal in, which right now means Arteta out. So
You know what? I just want to say quickly, Gary, what you say, I agree completely everything we say. I just want to say quickly, I thought the football gods were actually sprinkling on us tonight because, first of all, Xhaka. I mean, listen, I don't mean any harm to Xhaka. Okay?
I
I don't
didn't
mean
even get
any
there
harm
yet.
to
I
him.
didn't even get to that.
I don't mean harm to him. But him getting injured and Tierney coming, I thought, okay, that's a blessing in disguise. Great. And then Chukwueze, one of their best players, all of a sudden he has to go out, and I'm thinking, wow, they've just lost one of their biggest attacking threats. Is this the footballing gods, the footballing fairies, sprinkling the dust on Arteta again, like in the first leg, basically? Yeah. Like, is this the gods lining up now for Arteta? But no, it didn't.
Do you know what that was, Sam? It wasn't the football gods. It was the football devils pulling your chain.
That's what it was.
Because they knew what we were going to do, which was nothing. We did absolutely nothing. Tierney comes in, you think, all right, we got our left back in there, we're gonna be good. Like you said, their attacker on the right side, he goes out, still nothing. Come on, what do they need? What more do you need? The team basically laid down and said, come at us and try to score. Just ram it down their throat. We would not do that. And I don't know if that's everybody says, you know what? Arteta gives them a plan, and then the players go out there and they actually are supposed to execute it. I hope they were following his lead, because if they weren't and they were turning back every time they moved up and down that field, both the wings, Saka did it, Pepe did it. There was one time where Pepe gets the ball, he starts going attacking, and then you see Tierney come inside of him. He doesn't pass it, and you're like, what? That's like, and then Tierney runs around, comes back out, and does it again, and he finally passes it. I'm like, this team just doesn't want this. Every kick should be with the intent to score. We're moving the ball forward. We got to put pressure. We have to score. Guess what, fellas? We have to score. Guess what, Arsenal? We have to score. We got to move that way. We got to move towards the goal.
What was most effective tonight? We saw it actually happen a few times. And this is why I can't. You think a top level manager would see the same thing. We were most effective playing directly with a long ball. They basically marked out our midfield. They didn't want us to have any passing lanes through the midfield, right? They didn't want Partey to be able to pass into the midfield. They didn't want our back four to pass into the midfield, right? So you've got to go over the midfield. You go direct. And we could do that because Mari had a good passing foot. Partey has a good passing foot. We could do that type of thing. And we did it a few times over their left back. He was their weak point, their left back. And we had Saka out there against him, and we played over him, behind him, and Saka got in like 3-4 times. Really good attacking play doing that. But then we just stopped. Like, no, we're not doing that. We're going to start building up from the back again. Play from the back, play from the back. And it's just like, why? Why are you doing that? They're setting up to contain. They're sitting back to contain. They don't need a goal. They're like, we're happy. We're just going to contain you. We're going to mark out your midfield. We're going to contain you. We're going to sit tight, and we're just going to let you, you pass the ball around, do your thing. We're okay. And that's exactly what we did. We just passed it around like we don't need a goal. We're okay. And we sat back instead of getting on the front foot and attacking. Yeah. We just sat back, and that was just so mind-numbing. Like, why? Why are we doing that?
We've become a team in the mold of our manager, and our manager is not proactive. He is reactive. Stan, I want to go to you next, Stan. As Rahul said, I was not surprised we would score 3, as some thought. We have scored 46 goals in 34 games. We are good maybe in defense because we are so timid in attack. And I've got some numbers here, Stan. Going forward from the time of Emery, last season, full season Emery had, we scored 73 goals. And then the season when Arteta came in halfway, we scored 56 goals. So it's half Emery, half Arteta. And to date, we've scored 46 goals, as Rahul has said. Similarly, we've gone from 51 conceded under Emery down to 37. So we are better in defense, but we are so toothless going forward, Stan.
Oh, sorry.
I think the stat today was one shot on target. But just
One goal, no goals from play over 2 legs.
But I just wanted to say, some of the aspects of the game that Gary and Sam were just talking about, it's like I didn't see any of that. And I'll tell you the reason why. I tried to plan my day perfectly today, right? As you know, I'm in Vancouver. So I forgot to tell you this little story. So I was sat in my office for the first half doing some admin, and I had it on just to the side on my little tablet thing. And I had a task that I had to do that I thought, you know what, I'll do it at half time. I can leave, go around, do what I've got to do, and I'll be back for the second half. So just as the half time come, I left. And guess what happened? I got stuck in the elevator. My cleaner was in there doing something, right? We both got stuck in there, right? And I'm on the horn to the guys coming out. My man, I'm like, are you near yet? Are you near yet? Can you hurry up? Are you near yet? By the time I came back, it was like 75 minutes. And I saw the score and I watched it for 5 minutes and I thought to myself, do you know what? I'd rather be back in that fucking elevator. Talking to John, my man, the cleaner. I'm like, this is fucking ridiculous. So I missed a lot of the aspects of the actual play. Do you know what I mean? But yeah, from what I saw with the stats of only having one shot on target, I mean, why did we increase Aubameyang's contract? You know, I mean, and why has he fallen off a cliff so quickly? The decline. I mean,
with all the other players, with the whole squad. That's what I'm saying. The whole squad's fallen off a cliff.
There's no way that, you know,
and you know what?
There's no way that another manager would not be able to. We can get more out of these players. I'm clueless about it.
Stan, you have a God. That's your God calling you and making sure. Guess what? I'm going to keep him sane. Don't even worry about it. You don't even worry about it. I got you. That's what the God's
you
told
out of the equation.
You know,
out of the frustration.
Don't worry about Arsenal. You don't even have to deal with that today. So you got.
What it's like. My wife was stuck in an elevator at the beach as well
I couldn't believe it.
For a good long while because we took the steps and she got stuck in the elevator.
I was saved. I didn't have to watch most of it. I was like, actually, you know what?
That's great. That is great.
Yeah.
Well, my wife had claw marks against the door, like trying to pry it open. Were you trying to pry it open?
I was doing all that because it stuck. It was like the doors were like, do you know what I mean? And me and John, we were in there, and I'm like, you know, and afterwards, when I saw the guy who was still working on the lift when I came back, I know him quite well. I was like, you know what? I said, he goes, is everything all right? Because he sounded quite panicked. I said, no, because my team was playing in the semi-final in the European Cup. He went, oh, how did they get on? I goes, I want to get back into the elevator. He just started laughing, you know what I mean? So,
Tony, Stephen says here, wouldn't you have thought that players would be up for this against Unai Emery? You know, they've had some probably mental scars from Unai Emery, but they weren't up to it today.
Yeah, they're the same players that gave up on him. They didn't want to show up against him, I guess. I don't know. I kind of had that poll out. I didn't get too many votes on it. Who had more to prove, Arteta, Emery, or the players? I think it was the players, and they showed their shit culture of a club.
Yeah, I think that's the issue, though. Our team does not have any. They don't have any way to motivate themselves.
Nope.
You would think with everything going on, worst season of like the last 25 years for Arsenal.
Yeah.
ESL, the Cronkies, Eck, the way they played in the first leg. I mean, what more motivation do you need? You're playing your former manager, who some of you let down. What more do you need?
I've seen more spine and jellyfish.
This is the God's honest truth, Gary. My notes here say, I think it was the 5th. Yeah, severe lack of leadership on the field, Gary.
Yeah.
And this was in the 55th minute when we were starting to. We had a push in the second half, but it sort of faded then. Severe lack of leadership. It was actually a turnover there, a terrible turnover in midfield, which led to Moreno's shot saved by Berlino.
And you know, I always
Emery is imploring his team forward. He's imploring his team, and they're performing for him.
I understand a little bit. I mean, I always thought, you know, we could have a captain anywhere in the field, but we need a captain in the middle of the field somewhere. I mean, somewhere, because Aubameyang, he needs the ball, so he's not going to do it. We need somebody in the middle of the field communicating with these guys. I mean, Ryan did a better job leading this team from the back, from the furthest part of from all the way back there than what I saw today. I needed more. I mean, I did see Leno screaming today, but that's uncommon for me. We're missing leadership.
I think he was screaming because he was frightened.
Well, yeah, after that one play, right, where he kind of like almost coughed off the ball to the defender. But we need some leadership like yesterday. Like, I mean, you were talking about the stats as far as the goals for and against.
Yes.
All that means is we're just not losing 3-0 anymore. We're losing 1-0. That's all it means.
Yeah. And we're not scoring any goals to help us either.
I mean, how many 1-0 games have we lost this year where
handful
we scored one of them, and then we've gotten given away a couple of them, right? I mean, I think West Ham and Villa, Villa, we kind of gave them a goal, and then Burnley, same thing.
Yeah.
I mean, how many of those games? I mean, so yes, we're better defensively, but it doesn't really matter because we're not scoring the 2 goals we need. So it's just it's fake news, as they say.
Some of Arsenal's conceded goals this season have been shocking, Sam.
So many personal mistakes.
We've got so many
individual mistakes, yeah.
Sam, there's so many. We're probably going to do a whole podcast just on the mistakes that we've made this season. So many.
And some of it, of course, is down to players being out of form, not being at their best. And, and again, some of it has got to be down to the manager because he's playing these players again and again who are making these mistakes. That's what he's done a lot this season. He played Holding several games in a row. Yeah, he had different partners, but he kept playing and he kept making mistakes. And same with Xhaka earlier this season. Okay, I'll give the guy some credit. He's been better now towards the end of the season, but a lot of that season, earlier this season, he was making mistakes, losing the ball all the time, and he kept playing. He's played every single game apart from when he's suspended. He's the bionic man. He never needs a rest.
He's gone out of his way to put certain players on the field. No matter if they're in position, out of position, it doesn't matter. I just need them on the field, and it's like, if you showed that same dedication to getting your youngsters ready to go and play, you would be so much better off because that's what you need for every player, not just Xhaka and Willian. Those are the only 2 I think that got that kind of attention. Like, I'm going to play you. Doesn't matter how good you are. I'm going to play you. Doesn't matter where. I'm going to play you everywhere.
Yeah. How many games did you play Willian? Yeah, I understand you had to give him a few games to try and prove himself, But then he kept. I mean, it was like 10 games in a row or something like that, and he was just complete crap.
Willian has been involved in something like 25 games this season.
Yeah, but I remember he started 10 or 11 games in a row.
Yeah.
And at game number 7, 8, we're like, what the hell is going on here? This guy can't play. Why does he keep starting?
Appearance bonus.
It's just, Arteta hasn't made this easy on himself, has he? It's like I said, as soon as that lineup came out in the first leg, all of a sudden he's got a false 9 and playing Xhaka at left back again against Chukwueze, and I'm like, Arteta just doesn't want to make it easy for himself, does he? He's just like he's like a masochist. Yeah. He wants to be spanked and whipped.
Sam, there's no way in a 90-minute game that you can allow 45 minutes of that to be wasted by deploying a false 9 in the first leg and putting yourself in a 2-1 hole in the first leg.
Absolute madness. Yeah.
Tony, I do not, like I said earlier, I do not recognize this Arsenal anymore. This is not the Arsenal I know, and we are woefully inconsistent. I could not feel with any confidence that we would play well tonight.
No, and what's worse, it's unattractive football, uninspired football, boring, defensive-minded, not Arsenal as we've known it in the last 20 years. It's just not the right type of football, not the right man to lead the club, not the right culture of the club, and that's the main problem. We got to get somebody in that's a change of a culture immediately from the top to the bottom. I don't know who's that. That'll be that person, but it has to be done this summer.
Dan, in a season where our league form has been woeful, we varied. Like I said with Tony there, we varied from one result to another. Highs of winning a game against Leicester, beating Man United. We've had the lows of like losing to Burnley, drawing with Burnley. We've just been woefully inconsistent. And the first time we've actually come up against a really decent team in the Europa League, we failed at the first attempt.
It's not over yet either, right? What position are we going to finish the league in?
That's what I mean.
Why would anyone think that we're going to climb up a few places with what's left after today's, even after today's performance? Who knows where the fuck we're going to actually finish in the league?
Me and Sam had us both finishing around 10th 2 months ago. We might want to amend it to 12th or something.
We're in the territory where if we got rid of Mikel Arteta now, we'd probably have to bring in someone like Frank Lampard. You know what I mean? That's kind of or Wayne Rooney from Derby. That's kind of maybe where we're shopping.
Well, hold on.
If you were shopping in Lidl a year ago, where the fuck are we shopping now? Oxfam?
Yeah. Hold that thought. We're gonna have a little banter with that a little bit later. And as Raul says, no St. Tottenham's Day as well. So can this season end just now? 4 games to go, Gary. What do you want to see? What do you want to see for the next 4 games? I mean, it's got to be a total throw all of the young players in. And let me just add, Gary, it's kind of a lost season. If Arteta had thrown all the kids in this season, played Saliba, I think we would forgive him a little bit more this season. But he didn't do that.
I personally think the youngsters would have played a lot better. Because I think, one, they would have actually tried to do whatever he wanted them to do, which probably wasn't going to work, but they would have tried. And at least they would have been probably faster to do it, faster to recover when it messes up. Everything about it would have been a lot faster, I think. So
numbers would have been better.
Sometimes I feel like, they would actually try to do it as opposed to, at some point kind of look at the situation and go, you know what, forget this, and kind of mentally check out. So I kind of feel like you're going to get probably a lot more out of the youngsters because they're going to believe whatever you're selling, right? Some of these old timers are like, there's no way Willian was looking at Arteta going, yeah, I can do what you're asking me to do, coach. Yeah, I can do that.
He looks confused. He looks confused every time he's on the sideline.
There's no way there's no way he's looking at Arteta going, yeah, I can do that, coach. I got you.
Have you noticed, Gary, Willian looks confused every time he's going to come onto the pitch, right?
Yeah.
He's like, what did I just hear?
Yeah. No, I think we should have played we shouldn't have wasted our resources. Saliba should have had some time on the field. He should have played. Based on where we are today, he should have played. When they didn't ship him away, he should have played. Why did he not play? We wouldn't have been any worse than we are now if he had played when he was here and he was stuck on playing like 23s and doing absolutely nothing. Then maybe we would have seen something out of him and said, you know what? Screw that. You're staying here, right? We got to take our chances with what we have in-house and then worry about everything after. We always talk about being ruthless. We need to be ruthless all the way around. We've got players, make sure they fit. If they don't fit, then they go. Right? We send all our players out, and then we realize, look, we're struggling here. Play the youngsters. I don't think it matters where we are. We have to jump three spots, right? I think we have to jump 3 spots to make it to the Conference League thing. Is that even worth it?
No, it's not happening. I think we're going to have to figure out what we're going to do with our Thursday nights now because it's going to go weekend.
You know why Willian looks so confused when he comes on? Because when he's standing there right next to Steve Round and they're looking at that iPad thing, which we all think has got tactics on there, it's not. He's just watching YouTube clips of people walking into lampposts.
I think it's arrow diagrams of circles just to promote Arsenal fan circle. So
Steve Brown's
no,
got it.
just goes round and round and round.
Look, Willian's going up.
I thought they were looking at I thought they were looking at a vegetarian menu, and he's like, "Where's the meat? I like steak, you know. I like steak. So
Where's
I don't like
McCovey
all
beef
this green stuff. What's that?"
Dan, did you know that the Emirates is going to have a sinkhole pretty soon because the players just funnel around and around that circle in the middle of the pitch because Steve Brown keeps drawing circular diagrams. This is what you're going to do, William. Going to round and round.
I honestly think that Mikel Arteta just is so lucky that there's not been crowds in the stadium. I'm telling you, man, he would have felt the fucking heat. They all would have been feeling the heat because I do not think that the fans over the last couple of months would have tolerated these kind of performances if they were going week in, week out, especially at home. I mean, there's an argument to say that the man should be sacked on his fucking home form alone, right? His home form is disgraceful.
That's what we all worried about tonight.
Disgraceful. You know, we've always had very good to almost excellent home form over a season. If you look back, right, it's always been on the road where we sometimes let ourselves down. You know, even maybe we can get draws at home sometimes, which are a bit of a surprise. But Arteta's record is beyond. It's beyond
our away form. During the days of Wenger, our away form tailed off and was really, really bad. Probably a lot of what got him sacked. But I'd like to see what our away goals compared to our home goals were this season of those 46 goals. If anyone has time in the chats or something like that to check it out, do let us know. Sam, music to your ears. Tomorrow morning, Arteta's sacked. What do you think would be his biggest regret if you're Mikel Arteta leaving the Emirates with your box of tricks packed up at your desk?
Biggest regret? Wow. I really can't answer that question because I don't think I can think of just one. He's made so many mistakes and so many poor decisions. I can't really answer that question. The biggest regret, I don't know, maybe the way he handled the Saliba situation, maybe he feels a bit guilty about that because I know the fans have been on his back about that, at least on social media. Letting Saliba go out on loan again and not bring him in, not letting him take part in this season. Maybe that's his biggest regret. Maybe the way he handled the Ozil situation. Maybe he feels like Ozil could have been handled a bit better. Maybe. Something like that, maybe.
As Rahul said here, we failed to score at home in 10 matches. So our goals for at home would be a lot less than half of 46, let's say. You know,
it's just not good enough, you know. And you know what? I think Arteta has potential because clearly the guy he's an intelligent guy. The way he talks, his ideas, things like that. Apparently he did a good job under Pep, at Man City. He's got potential. But he just can't be doing his apprenticeship at Arsenal. Sorry, that's what I've been saying all along. You can't do your apprenticeship at a big club. You got to do you got to start the way everyone else starts. You start lower down. Lampard at Derby. Lampard. Was it Derby? Where was Lampard before Chelsea? I can't remember.
Derby. Derby.
Yeah, and then Rooney took over, right? Rooney's at Derby, isn't he? Yeah. And you got Gerrard. Gerrard's at Rangers. He's got his chance at Rangers. You can say that's not quite the same level as the Premier League. You got to start, lower down and you work your way up. That's the way it works. You make your mistakes. You learn how to do things. You learn how to manage. You learn what works and what doesn't work. I can do this. I can't do that. That's what you do. And when you're making those mistakes in a season that means something, like especially at the tail end of a season like now, you start thinking, oh yeah, I'll start a false nine with Emil Smith Rowe. He's never played there before, but I'll do that. That's the type of thing you try in the Championship, right? That's what you do there. It's that's just been a shame, really. Is seeing him make all these mistakes. Sometimes I actually feel sorry for him because I'm like, what the hell are you doing? Why are you doing this? You know, if you actually had some experience, you wouldn't be doing this.
Like we said in the green room, Sam, it's stuff that us fans can see.
Yeah.
Why can't he see that? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And here's
He's
a question.
very stubborn. He's very stubborn.
Right,
Yeah.
you know
Brownie.
the question that you just asked, what was your biggest regret if you woke up and found that he got... I can answer that one very, very quickly. My biggest regret was his fucking appointment in the first place.
What do you think would be Mikel's biggest...
his biggest regret? Maybe
rigid.
Accepted the job.
Leaving Man City.
What the fuck did I leave Pep for?
I was just gonna say his biggest regret is actually taking a job. He shouldn't have taken that job. Think about it.
Pep, he's still there, mate. He's still there.
No, I mean,
Still got Collins back.
he shouldn't have taken the job. It was destined not to work out, destined to fail.
Listen.
I mean, if Pep knows a lot. I would have assumed they were just looking at the Arsenal name and not looking at the infrastructure, the management structure, the players, basically where they're going. This is not a first-time job.
This is a guy that's never ridden a bicycle before, ever, right, of any kind. And rather than getting him like a little fucking push with stabilizers on, and letting him go and fall off a little bit and picking him back up, giving him the confidence, we've just fucking handed him the keys to a Harley Davidson. That's what we've done. It's going to fucking end in tears, right? Big time.
Or we put him in the Tour de France and put him at the top of the Alps and said, get down the hill in like 30 minutes. See you later.
And
you know what? It's like that 17-year-old who's just got his provisional license. And his rich father goes and buys him a Ferrari.
yeah. You find him 10 meters down the road, wrapped around the first lamppost.
In answer to Brownie's question, what do you think, Stan? If Stan wants to sell, then do you think he'll keep Arteta for the new owners to sack him and pay him off? I actually think he's going to probably sack Arteta to take the heat off of him. You know, and that might placate some of his supporters.
Arteta to try and keep... You know, in their mind, it's like it will help with the protest and the unease. We're being decisive. Do you think that could be a motivating factor of them getting rid of him?
Yeah, it could be.
Yeah, if he thinks like Kroenke out means Arteta out, then yeah, I can see that. Because otherwise, Kroenke out usually it means you Stan, you Josh. That's what it means.
Yeah, when Stan Kroenke
right now, Arteta is not the problem. He's not the fix, but he's not the problem. Yeah. I mean, it starts at the top, trickles down, and everybody's got the stink on them right now. Everybody's got the stink. Stinky up the top, and it just dribbles down, and they're all smelling.
The shit runs downhill, yeah. The shit runs downhill.
Tony, what do you think, Tony? Sorry. I'll bring Tony in, and then we'll go around the house a little bit. Tony, do you think Stan Kroenke would sack Arteta to get the heat off of the Kroenke out campaign?
Yeah. I think probably the smartest thing you can do, appoint Big Pat, go with the young players, and see what the fuck happens the rest of the season.
Stan, if that was me, if I was Stan Kroenke, I'd be like, they want me out, but I'm going to give them a sacrificial lamb here in Mikel Arteta.
The best way that I've heard it described, I think it was Jess who said it, and she described it as Mikel Arteta is a symptom of the cause, and the cause is the Kroenkes. You know, they kind of go hand in hand, right? So I think it's very possible that in their minds, by trying to be decisive and sacking the manager, they'll think it will appease the fans in what's been happening with the Kroenke out. But on the other side of the coin, you know, these are big business people that make big risks, and appointing them in the first place, you have to say it was a ballsy gamble. You have to, right? And anybody that was really happy at his appointment and today they're absolutely seething about it, then you need to give your head a bit of a wobble, because what do you think would happen when you appoint someone that's never... There's going to be bumps in the road, and the bumps in the road in a football season can be very, very big ones, like what happened today. So is it a case that the Cronkies have to ride it out because to save face? Could this be about saving face and gritting their teeth and them foolishly thinking maybe the summer he can turn it round? Do you know what I mean? Or are they going to pull the trigger thinking, well, this will appease the fans? But where would they go next? We're at the bottom of the barrel as it is financially for what I think they would pay for the next person. So I don't know.
Yeah.
Maybe I'll send my CV in the post in the morning because I'm very reasonable. My rates are reasonable.
Let's talk about the game in about 10 minutes. We'll come back to maybe some candidates because, I think the writing is on the wall for Arteta. Maybe it's not going to happen until, as Stan said, October or November. That's most likely. I don't want to make you, all four of you, mad here, but I think most likely they're going to write this out with Arteta. And to answer Brownie here, how many Arsenal fans only want the Cronkies out because Arteta's probably zero.
That's way off. Way off.
They're not necessarily related. You can want them out for totally different reasons. One, Arteta is young. Two, Cronkies are the Cronkies.
We wanted Cronky out for a long time now. It got to a head now with the Super League. That's when it all kicked off. But we wanted Cronkies out for a long time.
Yep.
Gary, do you think it was unfair to put all of this pressure on Aubameyang today? I mean, he saved us numerous times in semi-finals.
Okay, they gave him the armband for what reason?
To do this, to get us over the line.
Exactly. This is what you get. This is why you get the armband. Is because your team needs someone to come out there and do it. They need to get us over the line. They need to score the goals. They need to defend the balls. They need to make the interceptions, the blocks, whatever it is that they do well. They need to do it. That's why he's the captain. That's what he's supposed to do. That's why they pay him the most money. I mean, that's why he's had 20 goals in the last number of years. Mm-hmm. This is going to be his first one probably in a while where he hasn't scored 20 goals. Part of it's on him. Part of it's on the team. Part of it's on everything else that's going on. But to some degree, I think he did what he's supposed to do, which is get himself in a position to score. He was unlucky today with the 3 chances that he took. He could have done better, of course. But I think those 3 chances, one of them should have gone in. An informed Aubameyang scores one of those goals. I have no doubt about it.
Remember when he came down? He got that pass on the left-hand side. He was coming down the left-hand side and cutting in. And I was thinking, Aubameyang last season curling the far corner. That's his trademark goal. I was thinking, that's it. And
that's how he scored. That's how he scored his first. That's how he first scored his first goal of the season, if I recall.
Yep.
Isn't that how he scored his first goal? If William passes the ball all the way to him on the left side. He comes down with lots of space in front of him, and he just puts it where the goalie nobody can get to it on the far. That's how he scored his first goal.
And Gary,
today, you know what he does? Today he kicks it right at the goal. I think he was trying to go near post, but man,
right,
he went far post. There's no way, huh?
Unfortunately, right in the breadbasket. And if you think the Community Shield is the curtain raiser, it was a carbon copy also of the goal against Liverpool, isolating the fullback in that area and curling it in there. Yeah, so I immediately thought Fulham and Liverpool. I think we all thought that way. Sam, 3 great chances for Aubameyang. The first, a great slice shot outside of the right foot. It's curling, hits the post. Second one is the shot we just talked about, that Gary just referenced. And then the third one, probably the best move of the game in the 79th minute. Hector Bellerin actually gets down the right, puts a great cross in. And were we just unlucky today? In a sense?
Of course, you can say we're unlucky. As maybe another day, it's not. There's a very small margin of error there, isn't there? I mean, it's another day. Maybe it hits the inside of the post, right? There's such a small, difference that's needed there. But overall, when you look at the way we played, we just didn't create enough. We didn't create enough big chances. Really, I mean, yes, we had 2 really big chances. Where the goal was quite open. The ball went wide. Those 2 chances we had. Smith Rowe had one of them, and I can't remember the other one now. But basically the goal was quite
Pepe had the other one.
Pepe, that was it. Pepe, and he missed it as well. But listen, the overall play just wasn't good enough. It just wasn't good enough. And Aubameyang, he's been in poor form the whole season, and Maybe if he's in form, he gets it in. He hit the post as well, right? That header, he hit the post at the end. Well, not the end, 79th minute, you say.
Hit
And
it
then,
twice.
he's actually heading the ball, winning headers, and then Arteta pulls him off. So yeah, well done.
Yeah, Tony picked that up. Aubameyang comes off for Lacazette. You know, you kind of want goals. You want to keep goals on the field and take another player off.
Why did he
that's
just
not
pull off
gonna
his
score
goalie
goals.
as well? You know, because that would make just as much sense as pulling off Aubameyang. Pull your goalie off and bring on, I don't know, anybody.
I bet Tony got a fucking hard on when he saw Lacazette coming on. He loves a bit of lacquer. He loves a bit of lacquer, this Tony.
Tony does, but we see
There
this
was somebody
episode-
else, right, Sam? It was Lacazette, and who else was it? Chambers or
Chambers. Or if they would have been playing today, you had a right stiffy, wouldn't you?
Oh, you'd have to be fucking pulling Tony
It'd
off the
still be
ceiling,
visible.
mate. Fucking Chambers was in there. Jesus. You could fucking scrape him off.
Can I answer the fucking question
anyway.
now?
Let's have Tony speak for himself here. Go ahead, Tony.
We seen this episode last week. Arteta said that Ubo was only good for 10 to 15 minutes. Why the fuck do you bring him? This week, he says Lacazette's good for 10 or 15 minutes. Why the fuck do you bring him? It makes no sense at all.
And you got to do the Pepe, whoever it is. It's Tony.
That wasn't me. That wasn't me.
If there's a sound in your house, if there's sirens outside of your tower, you have to do the Pepe salute, right,
Oh,
Stan?
yeah, you didn't know that, did you, Ray? I've moved towers, man. I'm further away from the sirens. I'm in the next tower now, so.
Well, you can go like this. We can still hear him. Shout out to Rohan. I understand you're grinding, Rohan. You're actually cramming. That's what I call it for exams, right? You're cramming. So good luck with the exams, Rohan. So shout out to you.
Luck, mate.
And good timing. We just came in. You just come in at the back end of us complaining about Aubameyang not being able to help us yet again. You know what I mean? You all seem quite upbeat. Did I miss something in the last hours when I was writing my exam?
We've seen this script over and over and over and over again. So
check
take
it out,
any game you've been upset about, dub it, play it again. Guess what? This is what we saw today. Team needs to come up and show up. They don't show up. They need to make changes. I mean, Martinelli should have been on at halftime after that first half because there was nothing going on. Right?
Yeah.
Tierney, when I talked about, Tierney playing, some were saying that, he's not going to be able to go 90 minutes.
Yep.
Well, he had to start and he played what? Till the 80th minute.
Rohan, the landing lights are on for you, so get your plane moving here. This is Arsenal fan circle. Coming in for landing, Stan.
Okay, I'll buckle up. But what you were saying just a minute ago about, all right, Ryan, mate, welcome. What you were saying about Aubameyang captain and that, I just wanted to say that the thing is with him, he just doesn't have that kind of Tony Adams, Keone thing that you need, He's not that guy that when the going gets tough, he can look around at everyone and say, come on, what the fuck? What the fuck? Do you know what this... Come on, you know what this shirt means? Yeah. He's not that guy, When the going gets tough, Aubameyang goes missing.
Well,
he's not like, for example, Noble at West Ham. Do you know what I mean? He hasn't got that thing that you need to be a captain, and all because he's our most expensive player, I don't think that's that deems you to be the captain. It has to be a little bit more than that. And I actually think that Aubameyang being the captain has hurt his game a little bit, because when I watch him do his press conferences, I watched that one the other day, and especially for the first maybe 8 minutes or so, I was sitting there thinking he wants to be anywhere else but right sat in that chair. This is probably the worst part of the job that he has to do. He's
not comfortable. Yeah. We all have jobs, right? And we all have the least favorite part of our job, right? So let me bring Rohan in here. And Aubameyang, I asked the question a few minutes ago. We tried to go to the well again with Aubameyang, and perhaps it's very unfair to keep asking this of him, Rohan. Gary's not having it, but we have 10 other players as well, Gary, need to step up as well.
No.
But
no, I'm sorry.
He's getting paid the big bucks, Rohan. So what do you think? And by the way, welcome to you, Rohan, for coming back in. Yep.
Yeah. No. So just
I
because
wish it was under better circumstances, Rohan.
I know.
It makes a good super sub.
Literally finished the exam that I was writing for today and wrote it over 4.5 hours and just like jumped onto this one. Like, so, on the Aubameyang thing, right? Like, just because he's supposedly our best player. I mean, when he got the contract when he did get the contract till last season, he was our best player, right? Like this season, he's been completely out of form or doesn't have the hunger or the desire. I'm not really sure. I'm not here to defend Aubameyang, but the best player need not be the captain of the team. In my opinion, leadership itself is a quality which is separate from your talent of playing the game, right? And that happens in a lot of in a lot of sports, really. So I don't know why we persist with making Aubameyang the captain when he clearly doesn't have that attitude. I agree with Stan. He doesn't bleed red, right? Like he doesn't bleed Arsenal. He doesn't. It's just something about him. He's just too nice. Like he will not take. I'm not saying that Xhaka is the right replacement for him because he's not, but I would think that he has more of an attitude of trying to pull the team together and rally up the troops than Aubameyang, right? Aubameyang is an individualistic player. So, I don't know why. That's just one of the failings of this whole season, right? Like I don't know. Like I've come on here because like I'm just feeling so down with this. It's unrecognizable. This team is unrecognizable, and I just don't know why we even or why I even support this team anymore, because it's not what I started supporting, and it's not just because we're not winning matches. We've lost football matches in a bad way before, but there's no light at the end of the tunnel. We've absolutely lost the plot. This is we've had worse players, but these are the worst set of performances over the last 3 years that we've endured, and I just can't take it anymore, really. Like this is the end of it. You know what, like I personally because I have work, and then I have exam, school, like all of these things put together, family, right? I had not been up with my studies or for my exam, right? Like I just wasn't, because I had such busy weeks, right? And today, just before the exam was at 5 Eastern, right? Like before the exam, I got some time to study, and instead of studying, I watched that game. I watched that game till 4:55, and then I went and wrote my exam at 5, and then I in that mental state, I wrote it for 4.5 hours right now.
Yeah.
It's frustrating. I'm livid right now.
Okay, Tony, if you gotta go, just go, Tony. Gotta get your arm rechecked there. So
yeah, don't want to have a hook.
See you later, man.
Thanks, Tony.
Can
Take it easy.
I just say about one more thing about Aubameyang as the captain? The thing is with Aubameyang, he seems more like the guy. He's more like your hype man, like your echo. So when your captain's talking to the team, and the captain says something like, "Right, lads, we need to work at it and have more intensity." Aubameyang's the guy that goes, "More intensity." And he's like, that echo. And we need to get in amongst it, and we need to keep our shape. And Aubameyang's keep our shape. Basically, like if Arsenal was Public Enemy, Aubameyang would be Flavor Flav, going, yeah, boy, at the end of every little bit. Do you know what I mean? That's
He's
his
got
job.
a little clock. You don't have a big
Yeah.
clock.
Yeah.
That's his job. He's your hype man. He's not Chuck D. He's Flavor Flav.
Rohan, I'm just flicking through two banners here. Lack of intensity and desire, and Arsenal are consistently inconsistent. You know, and I know we only have you for about 15 minutes. So I'm milking your guest appearance
this
for
is
everything it's worth.
this is not Arsenal. This is not the team that I support. Like, we could not go into that game and play it in that way. We had to go there with the mentality of we have to score 2 goals. Because even if they would have scored 1, like, it wouldn't have made such a big difference. Like, but we were neither here nor there. At the end of it, they had 7 shots on target and we had 1. Right? Yeah, we hit the post twice, but what's that worth? And I don't know. You guys maybe discussed the Arteta situation, but I'm firmly like I've just had enough of him. We're 9th. We're gonna finish 9th. We will not be in Europe. I mean, maybe that's a blessing, but but just think about it. Chelsea are in the final of the Champions League. And we couldn't even get past Villareal.
You're right.
You have the manager that we sacked and replaced him with this guy, and we couldn't even beat them. What more evidence do we need that we're not progressing?
And how did Chelsea get to the Champions League final? They changed their manager.
Exactly.
And listen, I was feeling this way earlier, Rohan. I said exactly the same things. I don't know if you saw the podcast earlier here. I said, this is not the Arsenal I know. This team gives me nothing to cling to, with no apparent desire or urgency in their play. And the manager gives me little to cling to, with no motivation applied to the players, apparently. I don't see motivated players going out onto the pitch. I've always championed Arteta, saying it's not his fault. The players cross that white line. They have to take the game. But it is symbiotic. The manager has to give that motivation to the players, and the players have to go out and deliver.
Make them perform. If they're not performing, for how long will we gave him the pass through that horrible stretch from October through December, saying that the players down tools. Now again we're in the same situation, right? Like, for how many times will we give him that free pass? He finished 8th. I mean, he got half the season, but we finished 8th. And then we finished 9th this time.
Yep.
I mean, this is the first time in since, as far as I can remember, that I don't feel like watching games anymore. Like, when it's super early here in America, I sometimes just record it and I watch it at my own time. I don't even want to watch it live. Like, I don't feel the urgency of wanting to watch it live. I'm just like, it's fine. I have to watch it. I will watch it, but I'm not gonna get up super early in the morning to try to catch the game, because the team isn't giving anything back.
Yeah. I agree. My days of getting up at 4:30 in the morning. Some games are 4:30 here. That shit is done. I ain't doing that on a Sunday because I can't get back to sleep anyway. And I feel all groggy for the rest of the day. My missus is pissed off because I don't want to do anything. And I'm fucking knackered when I get up for work, right? So I'm like yourself, I get up and I watch it when I get up. I try to avoid Twitter, so I'm watching it fresh. But, I used to get up all the time for kickoff, whether it's 4:30, 8:30, 9:30, 10 or 12. Which are the usual times that we get. Them 4:30 ones in the morning, nah, mate. I'm not doing that. No.
Sam, I've been too passive in the last 15, 20 years. I've seen Arsenal. I've accepted I've seen the Arsenal at their best in my lifetime. I would just like to see us get back to winning things, winning titles. I accept we're not going to be that team we were in 2003, 2004. But Jesus Christ, this is terrible. We have a Chelsea team who could get a second Champions League. We haven't even gotten one. And we have a Manchester City team who could get their first. We haven't even gotten one yet. One of those two things will happen.
Yeah, and it's What is there to say? I mean, with we've had a downwards trajectory for a long time now, haven't we? Ironically, since we moved to the Emirates, it's been a downwards trajectory, hasn't it?
Yep.
And yeah, of course, everyone's right. The ownership, it starts there. That is where it trickles down from there. You've got to have owners who are invested and actually interested in the game, interested in the club, want the best for the club. Of course, that's what you need. But I'm still very much a believer of that. The right manager has a lot of influence as well in how we play and how we do performances. And it's. For me, Arteta, I said, I gave him the benefit of the doubt to start off with because I was like, okay, let's see what he can do. Everyone says he's so promising, all this, all that, huge potential. But we saw pretty quickly that he's lacking a lot of the fundamentals you need as a top-level manager. And I've been saying it for a long time. I've been banging that drum for a long time, trying to get you on board. Just saying, listen, the guy can buy players. You can't. The fundamentals are not there. His game management is atrocious. His man management leaves a lot to desire. He's just not doing the right things, and I don't think he's got that in him for a long time. He's got to go through a long process of learning that, I think. But he can't do that at Arsenal. Like I said, you can't have your apprenticeship at Arsenal Football Club. It's just not right. And Tuchel, the appointment of Tuchel at Chelsea is symbolic of what we've been talking about. I mean,
yes,
Lampard had those same players. He had those same players, and he couldn't get Timo Werner and Kai Havertz to work. And Tuchel is getting them to work. He's got Kai Havertz scoring goals. He's got Timo Werner scoring goals. He's got Mount playing out of his skin. He's a world-class player now. Conte is absolutely back to his amazing best. And this is Tuchel, who knows what he's doing. He knows how to deploy those players in the right system, the right strategy, giving them the right instructions. Giving them the right instructions and also motivating them. I bet you he's talking to them and motivating those players a lot as well off the pitch. And that's what it means. He's got those same players. He comes in. He's lost one game. He's lost one game as Chelsea manager, and that's not just a new manager bounce. That is a whole trajectory going the right way because you've got a manager who knows what he's doing. And they've gone from nearly being down at us mid-table. I mean, we were nearly catching up to Chelsea when Lampard got sacked. Tuchel comes in and that's it. Just straight up to Champions League spot, and now they're in the final of the Champions League itself. You got to give credit where it's due. And I say the same thing about West Ham. For me, David Moyes is probably manager of the season. That West Ham squad, they were tipped to struggle against relegation this season. Their squad on paper, not great. Definitely well below our level of the players in our squad. But what has David Moyes managed to do? The same with them. They've got owners that all the fans hate their owners. The owners sold a good player behind the manager's back, And David Moyes goes out there and he gets the best out of that team. He plays a system. He plays a strategy that suits those players. And all of a sudden, players that we've never heard of before, like Kufal and Souček and Bowen, these guys, all of a sudden they're playing incredible football. They're great. They're playing great, and that is Moyes. That is his influence. What he's doing to the West Ham team.
And the West Ham fans will tell you, Sam, that they have bad owners as well. So
that's what I was saying. They've got bad owners as well. So they've got this, a lot of similarities to Arsenal in that regard.
Yeah.
But you've got Moyes, who knows what he's doing. He's an experienced manager. I think he's grossly underrated. I'm not saying I necessarily want Moyes at Arsenal, even though I'd rather have him than Arteta, that's for sure. But Moyes is a grossly underrated manager. What he did at Everton is absolutely amazing. He took Everton from struggling close to relegation. He took them into the Champions League, right? And he did that with not the greatest of budgets. I mean, Usmanov wasn't there then, right? So, what he did was amazing. He's a good manager, and what he's doing at West Ham is amazing. And for me, like I just said, Moyes is the manager of the season. I think what he's done is absolutely incredible. And it goes to show you that the right manager who knows what he's doing implement the right strategy, the right tactics for the players you have, that means so much. You can get so much out of a team that way.
Gary, yeah, Rowan, yeah.
And just adding to adding to the conversation here is like, who is in reality, who is Arteta? Is he an Arsenal legend? For me, he's not. Like, the difference between us and Chelsea is that Lampard is a bona fide legit Chelsea legend, and they didn't think twice before sacking him. But we will not sack our manager because we think like we owe them something, right? That's the difference in mentality right there. That's how we want to be. We spent, like, I saw a tweet, we spent like 5 game weeks in 15th place when Tuchel had lost his job, but we continued to like not replace Arteta, and every time it's somebody else's fault. See, we can't change 25 players. That's not possible, not in one window, right? So you've got to get someone who's going to get a tune out of them. And if Arteta can't do it, and he's going to be the first, today shouldn't even have been a game, right? The way we played in the first leg, we should have been out in the first leg itself.
Yeah.
Today should not have been a conversation. And it was all on Arteta. We got back from there. We got an away goal somehow, and today we went there to win 1-0.
Yeah.
Like, I have supported Wenger. You know how much I've supported Wenger, and there was a long time that we didn't win anything under Wenger. But at least the game was watchable. We'd concede, but we'd score as well. We were always likely to score. Now it looks dire. There's no point in watching.
3 years to the day, Rohan. Do you think we're any better right now than we were in
3 years
2018?
to the day, actually. Yeah, that's true. 3 years to the day. Yeah, wow, yeah. Well,
Gary,
that is, yeah.
Gary, it's soul destroying for all of us Arsenal fans. Where do we go from here? And does this crystallize now the campaign to get Kroenke out? It's got to gather pace now.
Where do we go for? I guess it all depends. If it's we, the fans, we got to keep protesting. We got to keep pushing the message. We want change, and the change got to start from the top down, right? That's where we go. Where I think
it's a very broad we, right?
Yeah, well, I think like the KSE, they probably want to just sit back and do what they're doing right now, right? They just. If they can weather the storm, they will do that because they have no reason to get out of here. Their golden goose to some degree is suffering right now. It's losing its worth. Arsenal's not worth the same amount as it was when they, 3 years ago when they started to take over. We are, we're a mid-level team with a lot of trophies in the cabinet, and we have nothing really we don't have any plan to get back there right now. There's no plan right now that says, nothing I've seen so far leads me to believe that we are going to go back and get titles. We're going to be in the top 4. We're going to, play in finals consistently and be able to grow from them. Because what we saw, we got the FA Cup, great. How do we build on that? We didn't build on that at all. We've kind of failed terribly. Look at all of our losses to get knocked out of everything, all the cups that we played. Man City, just Southampton, yuck. And then today, all 3 of them, worst games we played, worst setups we had going in, everything. We set ourselves up to lose the Man City game we did.
Yep. We forfeited
Southampton, what do? We did the same thing. Everybody looked at that lineup and said, guess what?
Yep.
We don't want to win this. All right.
We
and we
didn't
lost.
care about the FA Cup.
This one looked promising, but I have a feeling whatever they were told was they might as well have just played. They might as well have just played the false 9 again because it looked we got nothing out of the game. We didn't get lucky this time. This official wasn't going to give us a break. He was not going to get us a break, and VAR was nowhere. VAR did even VAR work today? Because usually every game we play, VAR is there.
There was
turning
no
things away
decisions.
from us. Not even we were that bad that VAR didn't even have to work today. We didn't.
Yeah, I like European VAR. I think it's better than the British VAR. I've got to say. Stan, we got to hit the sponsors as well. I think Rahul said stop the subscriptions and buying merch, right? But we got to hit the sponsors as well, and we got to not only hit Stan and Arsenal's sponsors, but let's go after Stan's misses as well. Walmart. Don't go to Walmart. Don't spend your money there. It's got to be on all facets, Stan, right?
Yeah, I think if there's protests outside of his concerns in the America, he might hear it a little bit more because he seems to go to them. But I mean, I'm not even wearing any Arsenal merch anymore.
No violence, Brownie.
I'm not even wearing my Arsenal tops and stuff like that anymore. Do you know what I mean? Until they've gone, I've got no plans to buy any more Arsenal merch, whether it's beer mugs or this, that, or the other. Nothing. Do you know what I mean? Kind of done with them. I mean, I honestly think that it's going to be interesting to see where we actually finish in this table at the end of the season, because I still think that there's going to be. I don't think it's over yet. I think there's going to be some more inept performances. I don't think anything is going to change overnight, and we're going to continue to drop points. But I mean, your question was, where do we go from here? Do you know what I mean? And
yeah,
there's a part of me that wanted to start singing Yaz. The only way is up. I'm like, that's. I mean, I'd just be fooling myself. Do you know what I mean?
I was trying to get Gary to sing "We're Halfway There," living on a prayer.
Halfway where? No way. We're not.
After the first
we haven't
leg,
even got out the door
halfway.
yet. We're still stuck in the. We can't get out the doorway right now. We're not going anywhere.
After the first leg, we were halfway there. Stan, definition of inept: having or showing no skill, clumsy.
That's what I thought today.
Yeah.
Like the issue is that Arteta has given Kroenke an out now because he's proved that he is himself inept. If he was doing a lot with these bunch of players, then we could pile pressure on Kroenke and want other things to change. But this is a situation where, if Kroenke comes out tomorrow and says that, there is a manager who's not performing, I've been giving you guys money over the last years and you guys have just, like, the manager has not been performing and I've changed managers as well. What else do you want me to do? In reality, we can't say much, because Arteta has put us in this situation where he's going to get sacked, right? And, the owners are going to play that card that, we are so active that we've sacked the manager and we want the best and we want someone to make it, to take us to greatness. And this is the Arsenal and different knock and all of this verbiage that is, absolutely made up and total hogwash. That's what they're going to throw on us. Right? And Arteta has given them this out. He could have performed with this team, maybe struggled to get into the Champions League, but just missed out, things like that. And we would have said that, there's one problem, but there's just too many holes to plug. And Arteta has put us in this situation because he's stubborn,
Also, Rohan, as I said earlier, if he'd have used this season to use the youth and bring them through in all facets, in the best way possible, there would have been a hell of a lot more forgiveness for Arteta right now at this stage of the season.
It's like I don't know where to point the finger, because it's not like just because Kroenke will go that solves the situation, because our manager is also not good enough, and
we have
the players are not good enough, and the board is not good enough. Like all of them are,
I was to say, it's the total system failure. I mean, the heart's not there, the brain's not working, the eyes can't see anything, they can't hear, they can't communicate. Everything about this body of Arsenal right now is failing. I mean, we see it every week. We see it.
As Don said here, this club has broken me. I can see it in your demeanor, Rowan, and maybe it's in no disrespect, I think it's because you're a little bit younger and we're hardened maybe here. Do you think that's a realistic thing to say about you, Rohan? That you're
Probably.
still having it's still
I,
tight in your heart.
I haven't seen Arsenal this bad, right? Like since the time I started watching, we were always in the Champions League, and that being said, like at that point when I used to live in India, Champions League used to be Champions League used to be at 1:30 in the 1:30 at night. It used to start at 1:30 and go on till 3:30, and if we somehow went into extra time, etc., which we didn't, but if there was a possibility, it would go on until 4:30, and you had to get up at 7 and go to work or university or whatever, and we did that, no complaints, did that every week. And now there's absolutely no motivation because neither do I recognize the team, neither do I associate identify with the manager, and the board and the owners have absolutely they've left us with nothing to look forward to. It's absolutely abysmal. Now see, either way, either Chelsea, like you said, Chelsea will win their second Champions League,
Not
or
a good
will win their first. They were over the last, now for how long? Somebody wrote on Twitter that if Chelsea win the second Champions League, they're a bigger club than us. But now it's been 20 years since they've been, close to 20 years since they've been a bigger team than us. They're a bigger club than us now.
I mean, historically, we got more trophies than them, but
that's because we piled on a lot of trophies in the 1930s when none of us were there.
I wasn't around then. That's for sure. Yeah,
What's
Rohan.
the point of that now? Like
Rohan,
you can have a bad era, right?
Back then, people had outside toilets. That's how far we're going back. You want to go for the piss, you have to walk down the garden.
They had a little trapdoor in the onesie at the back stand. Go to the outhouse.
Yeah.
Rohan, do you feel like you got to put walls up a little bit, Rohan, when you're supporting Arsenal now?
Sorry?
Do you feel like you got to put walls up a little bit when you're supporting Arsenal now?
I know. Like, I have, I had friends who were Chelsea fans who in every other year they would have a disastrous season, and them finishing 10th or whatever, and they would say that no, I'm not watching this season. You banter them, they're like, no, I've not been following it. Like, I am getting to that stage now where like I'm just like, it's not affecting me anymore. It shouldn't affect me. It's clearly affecting me. Like, that's why like I'm here right after the exam with like not even eaten anything. I mean, it's absolutely disgusting what this team has done now. Like, either some heads need to roll. I need to see blood now. Like, really, like, it's enough.
You have Sam. You have an institution that doesn't care about the fans, but yet we care about the club. And as Rohan has said, as we've been saying, started off in the Champions League 25 years ago, whatever it was. We started off. Dennis Bergkamp got us into the UEFA Cup the first year of the 25 years. Since then, we took it for granted, top four for 22 years in a row. And Champions Leagues, we get to the quarterfinals. Yes, we'd be beaten by Barcelona. We'd complain about the lack of the tenacity, the lack of what's the word I'm looking for? The lack of it's failing me right now, but the lack of wanting to win things, right?
Yeah, desire or something like that.
There's a lack of a club's motivation to win things. Anyway, now we're dropping into the European lack of ambition. See, that was a word.
There were exciting teams, right? Like, we used to go in and we used to batter some teams 5-0. We used to get battered 4-5-0 ourselves. There was something.
Slavia 7-0, right?
Yeah, exactly. Like, all of that was happening at that point. Like, I remember some since I'm younger, like 2004 first and only
First
title
year.
that I had followed. But since
Yep.
then, like in the early 2010s, I've witnessed some nail-biting Champions League, like top 4, top 3 finishes. Like and people are going to be like, wow, is that a trophy? But like the number of times we pipped Tottenham in the last day to qualify, etc. When we've had a difficult run of fixtures and somehow we turn it around. We're in contention until Christmas, and then we drop off until March, and then March through May. Again, we used to rally it up. There was something that was happening, but here it's been consistently down and down and down. Like they'd be like punching us.
Yeah.
Continuously. It feels
Champions League,
sucker punching
Europa League for a few years. Now, we clung on to it last year by the FA Cup. The slimmest of margins.
Yeah, it's a downward trajectory, as I said. We were consistently in the Champions League, and then we dropped from the Champions League to the Europa League, and now we're out of the Europa League. There's a downward trajectory. And now we're going to have the first season outside of Europe for 25 years, and that's just a damning indictment of where we are. And it shows everyone we need to hit the reset button. We need to get everyone out and just completely reset, restart, reboot. That's what we need to do from the top down. Ownership down to the management and the coaches all the way through.
This just gives them the opportunity the ownership the opportunity to say now we don't even have Europa League money. How do we change the squad? How do we have got Champions League wage bill on a no Europe scale, or like we might be playing that. Is that thing, the Europa Conference, is that starting now? Like
I think so.
But I don't think we're not even going to qualify for that.
It's
listen,
good. It's good. You don't need now some extra games. Like we
don't want to go to Siberia and play football. It's okay.
Yeah, but because we feel like we are too big for that. But in reality, we're just like
we're not.
Right.
It's
So here's the thing, right? If we haven't got no Europe right next year, no Europa League, we're not getting whatever. These don't seem like the owners that will invest to get us back there. I think that they're the kind of people that use that as an excuse of, well, why would we give you more money?
We're gonna rely on the kids. We're gonna put more pressure on the kids stand to do it for us.
Do you not remember last year the plan was, and I think it was the last big window, Mikel Arteta was, well, the plan is, there's 3 plans. If we get Champions League, then there's going to be X amount that we can spend, and that's where we'll operate. If it's only Europa League again, then there's X amount. And then now we're below all of that. So I don't see how the Conkies are going to give him a shed load of money to fix the problem. I think they're more of the people that would say, well, sorry, Mikel, you failed. You didn't get us into that next bit. So this is what we're working with. Do the best that you can. And that's an attitude that you kind of then could end up languishing in and around that same space of the table.
Rowan, I think you're going to bow out at this point in time. I just want to tell you, I really appreciate you coming on, and that was firecrackers for you, I think. A round of applause and all that good stuff. But Rowan, really great to see you. I want to see you smile again, and I think that means Arsenal have to get a little bit better first, right?
Thanks, guys. Yeah, I think I needed to get some things off of my chest, and it was good to speak to everyone. And now I'm just gonna go and try to tune Arsenal out until they haunt me again tomorrow.
Yeah. You got to build your walls up a little bit, and don't let them do it to you, and don't open your heart up to them until they show you something on the pitch again.
Yeah. Take care, guys.
Thanks, Rod. Cheers, mate. Stan, so let's continue on this point. Where do we go now? And okay, we're pretty much talking whether this is respectful or not about Arteta. We feel he's a dead man walking. Let's throw out some names. Who do you think are going to be good candidates for the job? And I'm going to go around the horn on this one.
Me first. I'll just say, it's a cheap option, right? It's all down to pound, shilling, and pence. It's not who's the right man for the job, who can. That's not how these owners think. Yeah, that's not the way that they operate. You know, they hired Raul Cinieri because when Ivan Gazidis was walking out there saying, "See, I'm off to Inter Milan," they went, "Ivan, who's going to take your place?" He looked around and he went, "Yeah, Raul will do it," and just went. And they went, "All right then." They didn't have any series of interviews. They didn't, look out to recruit for the job. They took an easy option. So it concerns me that if, as I said earlier in the show, when Mikel Arteta was hired, if we were fucking shopping in Poundland then we're delving through the buckets of an Oxfam shop right now, trying to find that bargain that everybody else might have overlooked. I don't understand where that's going to come. I mean, Sam Allardyce already has a job. So I actually think that we're in the realms now that, looking at what I think of these owners, if it was tomorrow morning and Arteta got sacked and they're all sort of like in their huddle at executive level thinking about who's going to take over, I seriously think that some of the names that they would be considering would be someone like Eddie Howe. They'd also probably be considering Scott Parker. They'd probably be at an outside thing, be considering someone like Frank Lampard or even Wayne Rooney to try and, in their eyes, a bit of razzle dazzle with the Rooney and Lampard. It's bullshit. It's bullshit. Let me throw a name. These people think they ain't got a fucking clue. That's how they think. And someone like a Scott Parker, because they know how to wear a suit, they look really good in a suit and a tie. Do you know what I mean? That ain't how it fucking works, man. That ain't how it works. One last point as well. I read yesterday that apparently, I mean, who knows if it was clickbait, Arsenal are already caught in fucking Maurizio Sarri.
Yeah.
I mean, the guy getting near enough has to get wheeled round in a fucking iron lung. He smokes so many fucking Benson and Edges. You know what I mean? So, I mean, that's where we're shopping.
Stan, what do you think of Brendan Rodgers? Do you think that the proposition of Arsenal would be...
He gets paid £50 million a year. They're not going to pay him that. It's not going to happen. Do you know what I'm getting at? This is where it is. It's about... would I have him? He was my choice when we were looking for a replacement from Emery. That's the guy that I said I would like to try. But now I don't see... I think he's on like £15 million a year. I just don't see the Cronkies gazumping to pull him out and make him a little sweeter. They don't operate like that. Mourinho's getting paid 30 million, right? He's walked away from Tottenham, been fired, but he gets 16 million to leave with, and Tottenham still have to pay up the shortfall of his pay at Roma. He's going to get a 5 million at Roma, but Tottenham have got to top it up. We don't operate in those kind of conversations. When everyone was saying, "Oh, let's bring in Mourinho," when Emery went, this would never happen because he commands at that time 30 million. Mikel Arteta gets paid 5 million, and then he took a pay cut because of COVID. Yeah. That's bargain basement. That's a deal. Do you know what I mean?
Mark Green says here that's what you get when you have crap American owners, a rookie manager, and crap players. Gary, It's not
just American owners that are crap. Come on, I know you wanted. Everybody wants to lean on that. It's two in the Premier League, and there are worse. There are worse. There are other clubs out there.
There's three.
No, I mean like there's two that are. Well, there's only one that's really struggling. So the other two are actually, in what I've been seeing, they're actually playing pretty well, right? So they're set up a lot better than we are.
Gary, we can't. Stan thinks we're going to go the cheap route again, and I wouldn't exactly deny that could happen, but it would be very bad PR if we go cheap again, because then the game's up, right? We know what the Cronkies. Everyone knows what the Cronkies about then. Throw out some names at me. Who do you want to be the manager?
Well, I'm going to follow in Stan's lead. I don't really care. I just want a good manager, personally. That's what I want. But what I want more is I actually want a better structure. So if I think Stan's, the Cronkies are the bad, are crap, right? Then I want the guy below them to actually be better than what they are now. So if that's the board, if that's bringing in a director of football, right? All of that needs to be better, because it doesn't really matter what we do if the structure is not sound, right? Your foundation's got cracks in it. It doesn't matter what you put on top of it and what you fill it with. It's just gonna fall apart eventually, and that's what we're doing right now.
I don't know. If we put a decent manager in, you can get better results, right? Chelsea's doing that.
That's what I'm saying. I don't care who the manager is, and you know what? If I'm right now, I shouldn't know what's best for Arsenal. I shouldn't. The problem is, I think we know what's good for them.
We shouldn't
know
which team is best for Arsenal either.
No, but we should know. I mean, like when Arsenal got Wenger, did anybody go, "Oh, that guy is an up and coming manager," and you know what? That would be a good person to pick up, right? Nobody knew who he was, and that's because it's not our job to know, right? We want to get the next best thing. We want to get That's why I keep saying we need to get players, managers, everything trending upwards. Find me somebody trending upwards. That's what I want, right? So that could be a championship manager who's on his way up, right? Because that's what you want. You want somebody who's gonna want to do better than they did the last year, right? Right now we've got guys who haven't. Arteta doesn't even know what he's doing, right? He doesn't know where he's coming from. He hasn't like done this before, so he knows what to build on. You know, that's why when you talk about Scott Parker, why not? He actually has done something. He's got his team up into the Premier League, right? Right.
We have to stop.
He's actually done something Arteta has never done. He doesn't know what it feels like to work really hard and get his team to outperform what they. We need somebody who can get our players to overachieve, right? Right now, the players are just coasting, right? They're just coasting, right?
Yeah,
we need somebody who can get.
I just think that for where we are right now, the way it's all gone, the way it's all played out, I think the ideal person who I think could come in and maybe get an instant kind of a reaction, I think would be Rafa Benitez.
Yeah, I agree with you. 1 second, Stan. Stick a pin in that. So Rahul, the Assembled and I have a good relationship back and forth, so he's not trolling me. He's just sort of putting my words against me, and that's fair enough as well. So, Ray, let's give Arteta till next season. I did say that, and I think that's going to be the case. I don't think Arteta's getting fired.
Well, that's the problem with this whole discussion, right?
True. Arteta is a good manager.
Before this game, we all said, even if he lost it, he's probably going to still be here. We said that. I think most of us all thought it. If not said it, he's probably going to still be here because that's not where Arsenal want. They don't want to get better. They don't feel like they're really failing. I mean, right? I mean, they must not.
Yeah.
I mean, look what just happened. We just looked really bad at home.
Okay.
In the cold light of day, we're going to wake up and we lost to Villareal. We lost to our former manager. We lost. Experience won out over Inexperienced. I'm going to go to Sam next because this is right up his alley.
You didn't let me finish. You just.
Okay. Tony usually accuses me of that as well.
I didn't feel like I didn't feel like it was done.
Mark was just saying it's factual because they are Americans. That's all Mark was saying.
No. Yeah, but that doesn't mean much. I mean, if you're a terrible manager, it doesn't matter where you're from, you're still terrible, as far as I can tell, right?
Yeah.
Arteta's from Spain. He's supposed to be a really good manager, right? He's not, right?
Right.
I mean, you could say that, and that's kind of where I'm at with that one.
It is what it is. We're back into is what it is territory.
I don't know about that. No, but like I said, I kind of feel like it's not just one person that I think that needs to change. It's a multiple, just like we said, it's not going to be 2 or 3 players that's going to make a difference for Arsenal, right? It's going to be a lot, like 10 players. We need to replace 10 players for us to probably get in a situation to get where we want to be, right? 10. I think 10 is where we have to be. It's not going to be 2 or 3.
But who's going to coach them, Gary? Who coaches those 10? Still Mikel?
Well, I right now I don't want him to do that. I want somebody, like I said, who's actually one who's done. I get the Rafa Benitez, but who at Arsenal is going to walk up to Benitez and actually get him to even consider Arsenal? Who's going to?
Here we go. We're getting lots of suggestions, though. Here, Graham Potter, Hassan Hootel, Scott Parker, as we said. I was sweet before Arteta came. I was sweet on Benitez, though. I'd still
when you
go
bring in
that route.
when you bring in someone like Benitez, it's a little bit like when Chelsea brought in Gus Hiddink. You know, it's not going to be like a 4-year contract thing.
He fixes
He
things.
comes in, he steadies the ship. He knows how to operate between board and player. He gives it that little bit of stability, and then that gives everybody in the background time to really go out and vet someone that you can bring in. And someone like Rafa Benitez, you can just put in as the manager, leave him to that, and then you can focus on the other things that need to be focused on. And leave Rafa to do his fucking bit.
Yeah, and I think that's what's needed. Let me get up to Sam now. So I know it's getting late there, Sam. And did you finish yet? No, Gary? We got to get to Sam. He's been quiet.
What more are you going to say, Gary? I mean, what are you going to say?
I just don't worry about it. That's all right. All right. No one wants to hear me talk. No one wants to hear me talk.
Go to the top right-hand corner once in a while to keep him away.
I don't feel like I got to finish what I was saying, but it's all right. Go ahead.
We'll come back to you then, Gary. I don't want you to feel mad at me, though.
Now you're closer. You're closer to me now. You're feeling with our pain. So
I'm feeling it. Yeah. Sam, what do you got to say?
No, I mean it's. I disagree with Stan in terms of the manager. I mean, I think Arsenal, if they, I think where the owners are at the moment, if they've got a brain in their head, they're going to want to try and appease. If they want to keep Arsenal Football Club and they want to appease the fans, they need to start listening to what the fans want, and that would be a top level manager, and that would be actually investing some money into the club. That's what that is. If they want to try and get, I mean, Josh Kroenke. Listen, I hate the Kroenkes. I want them out, but I'm just saying here that Kroenke said in that interview with the Arsenal Supporters Trust, he said he wants to win over the fans. He wants to start a better relationship with the fans. He wants to show that they mean business. But yes, I know we've heard it all before, but what happened with the Super League thing, those protests, I think maybe, if we're lucky, maybe woke something in them. If they want to keep Arsenal Football Club, they need to do something different. So if I'm them, I'm thinking, okay, what do the fans want? We know they're not pleased with Arteta. We know they probably want a top level manager. Okay, let's look for one, and let's put some money into the kitty. Let's put some money into the transfer budget. They've got money. They've got money there to do it if they want. So it'll be the first time they actually invested in the club. So maybe it's time for them to do that, right? Because our self-sustaining model is at the point now where it's not sustaining anymore, because the value of our players is so little. We can't generate the amount of money we need to buy the players we need. They're going to have to put their hands in their pocket no matter what, or we're going to have to go to the youth and use all the youth players, because if they're not putting any money, we're not getting any money. It's as simple as that. So I'm thinking it's about time they put some money in put some money on the table. And we paid Arsene Wenger £12 million a year, so Arsenal can pay managers a lot of money. Yeah, well, okay, even more at the end. I know there was a time when we was paying him £12 million a year. Maybe he got even more towards the end.
14, I think, when he left.
Right, so it was up to 14, about that mark before he left. He was a very, very well-paid manager, one of the highest-paid managers around in the world. Deservedly so, of course, with what he'd done and everything. But Arsenal paid him that money. Arsenal could pay a manager money if they want. If you can pay Ozil $350k a week, you can pay Aubameyang $300k a week, Willian $200k a week. You can pay a manager good money. You can do that. The money's there to do it. So for me, the manager I want more than anyone else is Ten Hag at Ajax. I think he's a very, very good manager. He's good with youth. He's tactically very, very astute. He's done many good things with Ajax. He did good things before then.
Isn't he going to Bayern Munich?
Nagelsmann is going to Bayern Munich. Ten Hag wanted the job, but Nagelsmann's going there.
And Sam, you would think that it could be an attractive proposition. We have a very, very good youth setup coming through.
It's suited to him. It's suited to him.
All we need is 3 or 4 good pieces to.
It's suited to him. We've got some really good young players coming through. If we added some good players, like 3-4 really good players on top of that, it'd be really suited to him. And I think he would come to Arsenal being a bigger club than Ajax. I know he wants to. There's been talk of him. He wants to take that step up now. He's recently signed a new contract with Ajax to show loyalty to them, but he does want to take a step up to a bigger club. And I think, Arsenal, we could give him that proposition. I think if the Kroenke said, listen, we'll give you a kitty to buy, 3 or 4 players, or, put this amount of money on the table. And we've got some excellent youth coming through the ranks. We want you to bring in the youth and supplement it with, 3 or 4 star players. That is right up Ten Hag. That's right up Ten Hag's alley. And I think he could actually get us right up the table again. I really think you do. He's that level of manager.
I don't see Arsenal buying someone out of a contract and spending all that extra money.
You've got to. That's the thing. You want to be a big club. You've got to. You want to be a big club. You want to be a big boy. That's what you've got to do.
I think the time has come maybe to start moving like a big club, but I don't see it happening.
That's good. Isn't that why the Overmars? It couldn't be any more clearer of an approach to go and get somebody. If you're not going to be able to you're not going to be able to pay top dollar for a manager. At least make sure the person above him is quality as well. Yeah,
Overmars has done a good job. You could definitely bring him in maybe to either work with Adu instead of Vinay maybe, or even replace Adu maybe. I mean, Adu is a rookie as well, isn't he? I mean, maybe you want to bring in someone better. But yeah, apart from Ten Hag, if you can't go for him, then go for someone who's available. I think Benitez is a good shout. I agree with Stan on Benitez. I think he's a very good manager, tactically brilliant. He could get so much out of a team. He's done a lot of good things with many different clubs. I think he could get a tune out of this squad. I really do. And, he could definitely get us further up the table than what Arteta has. And that's the point of the game, isn't it? It's a results business. So, yeah, I think Benitez is another good shout. They're like the main managers I want. We'll just have to see what happens. But if we want to be a big club, what we've got to do is we've got to sack the manager and we've got to bring in someone big. That's what I would do. Bring in someone big and give them the summer. Say, listen, okay, now you can, you know what the squad's like. We're going to sell these players. You can name your players you want to bring in, a few of your players. You've got we want to also make sure you use some of the youth players. And, that's it. Give the next manager the summer to sort of shape the squad. Because if Arteta gets this summer, and Arteta's not going to get any better because, like I said, he lacks the fundamentals. He's not going to get any better. What we're going to do is if we have Arteta, he's going to be buying a few players, and we're going to end up close to Christmas, not doing well, not doing what we're supposed to be doing. We're going to sack Arteta, and what's going to happen? The next manager's coming in, and we're going to start the whole fucking ball rolling again. It's all Arteta's players. He's got Arteta's players. What do you expect him to do? Yeah.
Exactly.
As Lumber Camp says here, we're going to
excuses start to be reused and refucked.
Exactly.
And
so
then,
now you've got the chance to reset now, give the next manager the summer, and then it's his players.
And I guarantee you, if they did go for someone like, let's say, a Scott Parker, you guarantee that the proviso will be, Scott, you can be the Arsenal manager. However, you've got to work with what you've got. We might give you one player, enough to bring a player in. Do you know what I mean? You got to work with what you've got.
Why would you say that? Maybe he's actually looking at his Fulham team, going, you know what? I can't compete with the teams that I'm playing against. I know I need better players. I mean, he surprised some teams this season, right? But he realizes the depth that he's got on his team, the level, the talent isn't there. So he already knows. Look, I believe he does. I'm just speaking for him as his agent. I'm speaking for him. He knows that the quality of player that he needs to perform. He had some at Fulham.
Here's the problem, right? That's for me. If you're just talking about Scott Parker, here's the problem for me where he fucking shot himself in his foot for this season, right? He came up to the Premier League with that Fulham team, and then what he did is he went out and brought a load of players in on loan and basically said to the players that got him there, you're not good enough. And now what's happening is they're going to get relegated, and all those players that you brought in on loan are going to fuck up to their clubs, and he's going to look around in the changing room and be giving a team talk to players that he told wasn't good enough. He shot himself in the foot.
Yeah, he's going to tell him, I believe in you guys again.
Exactly.
But,
I believe in you. I believe in you.
I dropped you out of the Premier League. I didn't need you in the Premier League, but in the Championship, I believe you.
Well, I hope he learns from it and he's not stubborn like Arteta. I mean, that's the only thing I can say about that move. But like I said, I feel like we need somebody with experience. I do like the little boost that you're going to get from the managers you discussed. But my problem is who's the one actually making that call?
Yeah.
And who's the one that's going to sell Arsenal to those managers and coaches, right? Who is, if that's Overmars making that call, if that's somebody else making that call, you're going to probably take the call, listen, and hear what they have to say. Who's making that call?
Adu's making the call, and Josh Kroenke.
But he only knows his phone card only works in South America and stuff. I mean, he can't go Eastern Europe anywhere. It goes west for him. He only knows how to call.
Copacabana.
I mean, that's what it seems like, right? I mean, he definitely has that in his back pocket as his go-to, right?
I don't think Vinay makes them calls. Can you imagine, like, if Vinay was to call, say Chelsea to try and speak to Abramovich about a deal, he'd be like, "Can I speak to Mr. Roman, please?" Who's calling? Vinay Vankesham, and the secretary's like, "I don't know who it is. It's some bloke, some guy called Vinay. Who? Sorry, who? Where are you calling from?" He says he's calling from Arsenal. They ain't got no one.
Shout out to Darren.
No one even knows who the fuck he is. I remember when I think it was the first game that we played after the Euro, the Super League thing got quashed, and the footage I was watching, they went up to, obviously it must have been like a director's box, and through the glass window, you could see Vinay. He had his back to the glass, talking to obviously his equivalent at, I think it might Everton. And Vinay was blah, blah, blah. And the commentator said, yes, he's probably trying to, explain why he wanted to blah, blah, blah. And I was sitting there thinking, the Everton guys probably standing there looking at him thinking, who are you again? How did you get in here? How did you get into this room? So I don't know. I don't know.
Like I said, I think we can definitely do better, right? We can definitely do better. Even if we split the job, we could do better. Right? I mean, you got one guy doing two jobs who probably can't even do one job right now. So
I mean, at the end of the day, a fish rots from the head down, right? So there's got to be wholesale changes. You can't just change the tail and expect everything to be like hunky dory.
Exactly. Listen, if you're enjoying the live stream here, slap a like on it. It doesn't cost anything. The content's free. All of the knowledge in these four heads are plentiful, but also free. And but we like doing it as well. It's like our hobby. Gary, we're always at a crossroads here at Arsenal, but I feel like really, really, really are at a crossroads here. We have a lot of good burgeoning talent coming through, and it has to be managed correctly. And or else we're gonna start seeing talents go out the door for large fees. Saka, Emile Smith-Rowe, we don't want that to happen. So where do we go from here? Like I'm saying, how do we manage this talent? We've got to get the right appointee this time. We've had Unai Emery, didn't work. Maybe Arteta didn't work. He hasn't been sacked right yet, but go ahead.
No, like you said it right there. This is gonna be this is gonna hurt us long term if we don't get it right again. And like you said, if we don't go and spend the money, we're going to fail again. So, I mean, they always say throwing up money at the problem isn't going to fix it, but the only way you're going to get the good talent in is to throw the money at them, right? And throw the money at somebody who's actually done it and done it well. So, yeah, I mean, I like the Benitez, approach, but I also, we're probably going to have to pay a little bit extra for it because we are this Arsenal and not the Arsenal of old, right? There's a lot of things going on here that are going to require a lot more than what it used to. I mean, we'll be lucky to get the players we want now, right? We were struggling to think about, we get into the Champions League and we're going to have players. Now it's like, Yeah.
It might force us.
Our recruiting should have been looking at lower tier players and not looking at the top echelon players in the leagues in the world anyways. But now we should do that, and we can do better with what not having to go across seas, go out of the country, So who don't know, but they need to, like I said, like Stan said, this is parts of a fish that need to be fixed. And that's why I'm like, why can't we start as high up as we can? That means board members. But I mean, the whole problem is who's making those decisions. Does KC, does Josh actually think he needs to update his board? Does he feel like he needs to get a director of football in there to maybe
it's
make
a
things
heavily
run smoothly?
Cronky board right now.
Yeah, so they don't.
Board members.
Like I said, they're not doing this. They're not doing this with the Rams. They're not doing this with the Nuggets. They're not doing what they're doing here with those teams.
Yeah.
I mean, there are a lot of safeguards over there, and that's why it makes it a little bit easier. But they're letting this thing flounder. Right? You got one of the biggest teams in the world, and you right now can't even sell it to some of the best managers in the world. Right? You can't, and that's a problem right there. You can't even go and call up these guys and they take the call. They probably don't even take the call right now, unless there's money on the other side. If there's an envelope with a phone next to it, right? Because I feel like that's where we are right now. We need to. They embarrassed us again. Yep, they did. Sorry, Darren.
We are the ultimate banter team right now.
Yeah. I'm just saying, how does a top football club, which we're supposed to be, that we're one of the most famous historical, we've won the FA Cup more than any other team. How do you get yourself into a position where you're buying players, right, mediocre, average players, giving them high contracts, and then when you decide it's time to cut your losses because you finally, the penny drops and you fucking realize how shit these players are, you can't sell them because you've given them these over exorbitant salaries that you basically just burn the contract and say, just leave. And you don't just do it once, you don't just do it twice. And to coin Monty Burns in the fucking Simpsons, not once, not twice, but thrice. I mean, how do you get yourself into that situation? There's a saying about, fool me once or whatever. Surely when you're doing the same things over and over again, it's just inept. It's inept at the fucking highest order.
They don't care.
One as an example is Mustafi.
There's that word again, inept.
The money that we paid for Mustafi, and we just let him basically walk. I mean, it's just pure madness that this club is being allowed to be run and to function in that manner. And it's not like it happened once and you think, we dropped the ball on that. Let's have a fucking meeting. Let's streamline our protocols, make sure we're on the same page so this shit doesn't happen again. It's happened too many times. I mean, Mesut Ozil, we're still paying 90% of his fucking salary.
Yep.
I'm glad he's gone. Don't get me wrong. I'm glad he's away, but we've dug ourselves into this hole where we're still paying 90% of his salary. It's just beyond beggars' belief.
Yeah, Naughty Boy, we remember you. We remember the foghorn, and we remember all of that. So thanks for coming back. Ditch Bella and Bellerin. And we mentioned earlier, Sam, Arteta is intrinsically going to be linked to Willian, Xhaka, David Luiz, Hector Bellerin.
There is boys, the sons of Arteta, yeah.
The sons of Arteta. Like I said, do we need to maybe lower our sights, and we're going to be forced to lower our sights now, not be as snobby or picky as we used to be. We're not going to be in Europe. We're not going to be able to track the bigger lights. We're going to have to look in the championship maybe and get some hungry players, Sam.
Yeah, and I'll tell you what, there's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with looking at Norwich and say, okay, we'll have a Buendia, we'll have a Max Aarons. There's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with saying to Brighton, you know what, Bissouma, we'll have him. Maybe a Tariq Lamptey as well, we'll take him as well. There's nothing wrong with that. These players are Premier League proven, good players who are gonna, they're gonna bust their gut and give 110%. You need players with the right attitude as well. The players who are players who actually work hard and give 110%. That's what we need. And there's nothing wrong with going with Premier League proven players who have played well in the Premier League, who we know can do a job. It's this. You look at Germany and all the players over there and everything. So often you buy a player from over there. It takes so long to get them to adapt and gel in with the team and everything. And there's nothing wrong with going with Premier League proven. That's what we need to do. Mm-hmm. Premier League proven or some of the best of what's in the Championship, and it will do a good job. But we've seen that with so many other teams now. These players who they get from the Championship or some other lower down Premier League club. They do well.
Ollie Watkins, 13 goals this season.
Exactly.
Let's not be too picky. I hate this. Banter FC in full force, Dan. Go ahead.
I was going to say Ashley Barnes. Have you never noticed that Ashley Barnes? He's not a player that when you're watching a match and the commentators are speaking, they never say Barnes. You get the whole fucking deal. It's Ashley Barnes, Ashley Barnes, Ashley Barnes, Ashley Barnes, Ashley Barnes. I want to get Ashley Barnes. I like it when you say a whole name. Sorry.
Angel FC is here. It is a blessing in disguise that we got no European football. Kroenke will now have to sell. Arteta can piss off with Kroenke because he is out of his depth.
Well, that's another thing I was thinking of. With no European football now, that really does put a big dent in the finances.
Tear down.
It's a great excuse for them to say, well,
But they maybe will make the offer from Eck more palatable.
Yeah, exactly. That's a very good point, Sam. That could be a blessing in disguise, right?
I mean, imagine if we would have got to the. I mean, that's of course what we want from a fan's perspective. Of course, we want the best for the club. If we would have got into the Europa League final and beaten Man United and got into the Champions League through the back door. All that money from the Champions League, that might have said, it would probably said to them, listen, we're not selling, we're in the Champions League,
How many Europa League games would make you think that we're going to beat United? Which one of these games that we played in?
Gary, in theory, I agree with you. But the thing is, in a final, you never know what's going to happen. You never know what's going to happen.
Well, this was our final today. We had a final today. Yeah. We've had a final pretty much every time we've come out and played.
Guess what?
We showed up a couple of times and we got lucky a couple of times.
But I didn't say if. I didn't say what's going to happen.
No, I know. That's the problem. We can see these. Sorry.
We played a false nine for half of this game, Gary.
So sorry.
We played a false nine for half of this game, half of this one-off game, a two-legged affair. We played a false nine effectively for 45 minutes of a game. Away to Villareal.
I mean, he's playing around with his career and his team and his players. They just wasted that first leg. They just wasted that first leg. That's what they did.
Yeah.
I mean, come on. You just wait. Like, this is where we talk about accountability. Who's accountable to this team to go, you know what? That is just not – that's not right. This is not how we do things. We spent the whole couple of months finally getting a back four and a set of players that we know we can plug and play every once in a while and not lose too much. Now all of a sudden in the biggest game of your career, you do that. That's no different than you got 8 center backs, but you still got to go buy another one. Right? I mean, James Rose said this multiple times. Who actually is approving that? If you're the owner of the team, or if you're the person in charge of the money, who looks at the situation to start the season and go, all right, we've got 8 center backs. We only need 4 or 5? We've got one that we have to, Saliba, but we're not gonna use him.
Saliba will be the great mystery.
We're going to get rid of a lot of them, but we're still going to go buy one when your midfield is terrible.
Yeah.
Yes, they try to get Alwar to kind of fix that, but he couldn't have been. What if it should have been at least a number 2 on that chart of list of things? If I can't get Alwar, who do I get next? Right? No, they went to a separate list. We were going to get Partey. So I mean, I like Partey here. We got unlucky, I think, with his injuries and whatnot. But you can't tell me we couldn't have picked up another our second option in that list.
I think we've really
the midfield. I mean, so who's a cow? And that's why all of these changes are like all for naught, because who's making these decisions? Josh? Or is this
who
is
knows?
this Adu and Arteta making these decisions? They don't know.
I think
They definitely don't know.
we've really thrown Partey in at the deep end this season. Hopefully next season he's going to be better. Quick Gunner, thanks for joining. New around here, slap a like. Consider subscribing as well, so you'll get us. Respect your opinion, because I think I'm teetering. Stan, I think, started off saying he's like 90 against and 10 for Arteta. I'm teetering, maybe not that far, but I'm very close. I'm still Arteta in for the fact that he changed the culture from last year. He has not earned the right maybe to continue because of his league form. Bread and butter has not been there. Let's get into final thoughts. Sam, do you want to start off with final thoughts? And your man in the match nomination from tonight.
Yeah, for me it was Emil Smith-Rowe. I thought he was the most creative player we had tonight. I think he played quite well. Some nice passes, some nice moves, nice little flicks, skillful touches. He did some really good things tonight, and unfortunately the players around him weren't on the same level. So yeah, no. But apart from that, no. I think we've hit on a lot of the major points tonight. I think we need to reset now. We need to hit the reset button. We need to get rid of Arteta as quickly as possible. Bring in someone as quickly as possible for next season, and let that person get the summer transfer window and shape the squad how they want and move forward with them. I do think it's going to be a big mistake if we give Arteta the window. If you think about it now, we're in May. We're approaching mid-May. And, I mean, how do you think... I mean, we're starting again in August, right? How do you think from May to August, we're talking three to 4 months, how all of a sudden in 3 to 4 months is this guy magically going to figure out the fundamentals of management? Can any of you explain me that?
He's going to go down to Dub Smith's. He's going to buy a copy of Football Management for Dummies.
He's had 18 months.
Is it? I mean, seriously, is it like? It's not like a video game where you sort of level up after you get to a certain amount of carrots or something. I mean, it's the guy. The guy.
Your progress.
The guy is lacking fundamentals. In 3 months from now, he's still going to fucking be clueless with substitutions. Not going to be able to change tactics during a game. He's going to be playing. He's going to be picking the wrong fucking players in the wrong positions, right? That is not going to change in 3 to 4 months, gentlemen.
Yeah.
So why, on God's green earth, and for the sake of Arsenal Football Club, are we going to let him do that? For me, it's madness. For me, it's just madness. So we're going to give it to someone else. For me, it's got to be a top level, high level manager to really, put a stamp on this squad and this team and move it forward. And that's what's got to happen.
It's got to be. And December, I think this is the comment of the night. Ray, I thought he was playing the missing 9 today as well. So I think that's worthy of comment of the night here. Listen, if you're new here, watching for the first time, this is Arsenal Fan Circle, Thursday nights and Sundays, twice a week. We do pre-game podcasts as well. The season is well and truly dead right now, but hopefully you can subscribe and be part of the family here. I actually agree with you, Sam. I think Emil Smith-Rowe is man in the match as well. I thought he played quite well. He could have been the real hero tonight. He missed the goal, the open goal. Unfortunately, he wasn't able to chip it in. But we're not going to castigate a very young player who's only been in the team about 6 months. I think he's made great strides this year, and he's one of the leading lights for the club.
Definitely.
Stan, your final thoughts.
Well, I don't really have a man of the match because, as I said earlier, for most of the game I was stuck in an elevator. If you just joined us, rewind that back. That's a whole nother fucking story.
Maybe the elevator was man of the match for you.
I just don't. Ordinarily, in a normal world, you know, you'd be looking at a manager that's come in. He's got some deadwood players. He's setting them up. At least he's trying to pick his best 11. But the best 11 that he's picking, you know, they're just not good enough. They're not getting the right results. And you can actually see what he's trying to do. And then you'd be like, okay, you know, when we get to the summer, hopefully he can be backed, and he can buy the players, you know, because but it's not like that with Mikel Arteta. The mistakes that he's making, he's shooting himself in the foot. Where I'm at the stage where I'm like, I don't know if I want to give him what little money we may have. You know what I mean? It's like giving a crack addict $10 and saying, can you go down the shops and get me a loaf of bread and a pint of milk? They're not coming back for a week, man. Do you know what I mean?
They're never going to see him again.
And when they do come back, they're not having your bread and your milk with them either, right? And so I'm kind of there because I kind of feel that if it was anyone else, and what a lot of our fans are saying about, I'll give him another window, I can't see what he's trying to do. Some of his selections, the way that he does his substitutions, his man management, the people that he ostracizes, those that he doesn't. I don't see how giving him more money is the fucking answer. I mean, you're just basically you're trying to like get the crack at it. Let's bring him back into the conversation instead of making him go through cold turkey or saying, "I'll just give you 2 a day." You're not helping.
No.
He's still, you know, he's still a crackhead, right? And he's not going to make it in October, man. If he does make it to October, we are going to be like having some real serious heavy podcasts.
Well, I said to you, I was
up there.
Yeah, we were there last week, Stan. You and I, October, November is what we're kind of given. We're swaying a little bit, right? We're tipping the scales, but I was thinking he's going to have to start this season really, really well to sway a lot of us, bring a lot of people back here. You know what I mean? As Don Juan said here, you know what's sad? Villareal are kind of shite. They didn't impress me at all. United will slap them in the final. And Edison Cavani's another player who's sort of hit the ground running for them as well.
I just want to say, it wouldn't surprise me that he's here at the end of the season. We go into a pre-season, right? And those little games that we play in pre-season, we smash it. We see someone like Eddie Nketiah come off the bench and score a fucking hat trick. And you know what happens? We start the league proper and it's back to where we were. It's back to where we are right now. There's always that great pre-season and we see a young player make it and someone like an Aziz come in and do something really good. And then the season starts and you won't see that player. You won't pick him and it'll be just where we are right now. And that's how I feel about the situation.
Alonso, I'll get to you in a second, but I'm just going to go to Gary next. Final thoughts and, you know, what have you got, Gary?
Yeah, I say it all the time. This is easy. To fix this, it's easy. Is Arteta doing the job? Is he fulfilling the duties of Arsenal manager? I would say not. Is there a plan going forward? I would say not. Is it all on the players? No. I mean, do we have good enough players to get us higher up the table, further into tournaments? Yes. I mean, these are easy things to fix, I think. Do we have the people to do it? No. You know, Arteta's one level. The players are others. I mean, the people above them are the others. I mean, we needed a football person to come in, and the only person we've signed in above Arteta is some guy who's going to push papers back and forth and make sure the I's are dotted and T's are crossed. Right? That will help us to some degree, but we need football people. We need somebody who knows. We know somebody who knows about football, because it doesn't matter if we have really good contracts if the players are crap, right? You know, if the players aren't coached, the players don't get the right, the right instruction on how to play this game. You know, like he said, what has Arteta learned? He's been 18 months and he still can't make a sub he can't change the flow of a game immediately when it's required, right?
Not only that, he doesn't have
18
subs ready when he needs
18 months. I mean, like 59 minutes, Martinelli is standing with a coach talking about something. It's still 6 minutes later before he comes on. I'm like, what the? By that time, we lost a player. Erdegaard gets hurt. In that point of time where he's sitting there talking to the manager, Erdegaard gets hurt. I mean, that's what – I mean, he's probably not lying when he said I had a player ready to come on for Ceballos in the last game. But he takes so – what do you have to tell Martinelli when he comes on and you haven't told him already? Is something changed? We're not is he really changing the is he really changing something in the game when Martinelli comes on? No. It's the same thing. He doesn't have like 20 different things he could do at once. If he did, we would see it. I mean, this thing's easy, man, and he's just messing up. I hope you're laughing at me because I thought I was being funny, but
No,
maybe
I'm
not.
not laughing. I swear, I'm laughing with you. I just have these visions of Martinelli standing on the sideline, fitting with his shirt, pulling his shorts up, and Arteta standing next to him, and he's going, Did you see EastEnders last night? Phil Mitchell's fucked.
Meanwhile, Willian's going, what?
Yeah.
What's EastEnders?
Like, East what?
Like, yeah, I don't know what, like I said, I don't know what's going on. And, like I talked about it, the accountability is not there. Nobody's accountable for anything. Nobody's accountable for anything. Nobody is accountable for anything. And it's an easy thing to fix. Somebody needs to be accountable. At some point, somebody's going to have to lose their job, right?
Yeah.
The only people that are losing their job are people that rob. You know what? It's all about the money. If you steal, you're out. But if you waste my money, that's okay. I don't care. But if you steal it, you know what? I got a problem with you. And that's so far, that's the only thing that's made a difference right now, right? It's people stealing the money from Stan. And you know what? They're stealing money from Stan right now. This loss, that's money lost, right? Whatever money they were going to make playing in the Champions League, gone. Stan, that's all the gas for your jet, gone. You want to cut the ranch. Now you got to pay out of your own pocket. There's no new money coming in. It's they're taking his money anyways, and he doesn't get it, right? You got to spend money to make money. Everybody knows that, and the rich know that for sure. I mean, this isn't and they're losing money every year since he's been in this team. Every time they drop another level in the table, that's money lost, isn't it?
Hopefully.
Right? Every time they drop, it's money lost. Every time they drop out of a tournament, it's money lost.
Hopefully the whole thing is becoming less and less attractive to them. Arsenal fans make lots of sacrifices for their team. Naughty boy here. I wish he hadn't turned down his Thursday night treat to watch the crap match. Well, you ask yourself what the Thursday night treat was. Said no to my bet on the side for that double game. We do have sympathy for you.
Yeah, you definitely failed on that one. That's fail.
How can you pick Arsenal over a bit on the side? I mean, come on.
No, but we were talking about player of the game.
Dedicated fan, Sam.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. You're not going to bring Freddie. I want to hear what he thinks about the game, man.
Of course. We'll have to wait for Gary. Already yelled at me once for cutting.
Yeah, you cut me off. No,
Gary needs another 3.5 minutes.
I'm gonna try to go fast here. No, but I like I said, as far as the 11, Sam, I didn't see it from Millsworth Road today, and that's probably why, because I was just so disgusted with the entire thing that I couldn't see anything sparkling or shining out there at all. I mean, Millsworth Road missed the shot just like Pepe did to me, as far as some of the highlights that I saw, but it was hard for me to see anything good with all the mess that was going on out there. Just
Gary, you're done one. We both 2 nominations for Emile Smith Rowe.
I just said I didn't see it. I didn't see anything good today. And you know what? It's not even that the players were bad. I think it was more Arteta just was bad, and he made an entire team look really bad. He did. He made them look really bad. We did have chances to score, but we needed to have a lot more. I mean, I know we needed to look like a team that was going to get a lot more. We did not do that.
Tony, Stan spent a lot more seconds in the elevator than you did. You only went down 1 second. 1 second in the elevator. That's not a lot of time.
Well, I think Tony's trying to say that he wants to fucking have a shag in an elevator.
You should have just said that instead of.
That C in sec should be an X. That's what he's talking about.
He's been listening to Aerosmith too much. He has.
You can go down and go up on the. Okay, Gary, can I go to Alonso now?
Yeah, you can. Yeah.
Great.
Alonso, mate, how are you?
I'm good, man. How are things, guys?
You came in right at the end. Listen, I don't know if everyone's good to go for a few more minutes, right? Yes, thumbs up. No.
Nah, let's stop now.
Yeah. So last night I saw that movie, Give Her a Pitch, right? And I thought to myself, it's been another 5 years of this crap, because it's gonna be disappointment for the next 10 years about being an Arsenal supporter, right? Because it's like that saying, right? The throw of agony, the throw of agony, the throw of defeat, whatever, right? So that's how we feel right now. I mean, it's typical Arsenal. This Arsenal team is not very good, and I don't know how else to say it, but Arteta needs to go because he has no clue what he's doing.
Your best part of the movie, Alonso?
The very end.
when they drop her into the stadium and the guy's like, "Look at this idiot," and you're like, "What?" And then you see her drop, and you're like,
my favorite part of the movie was Mark Strong saying, "Go!" And you see O'Connell first walked in, and it was like, "Jeez, man."
And we can all relate to those characters,
right? And it was very passionate about how, they said something about the movie where, the reason why you went with your dad is because you like Arsenal, and you skipped out on him because they started losing or something like that. And I was like, that's interesting because we've all felt like that at some point where we just dropped everything we ever loved and put Arsenal first. And I could relate to that a lot in that movie. And it was so typical of today, right? How they let us down, but then we least expected they win a big game, and we haven't had that feeling in it since last year against Chelsea. So, it is what it is. I think that throughout the 5 years that, 5 or 6 years, we kind of expected this because of what's happening. And we kind of know if you had an American owner that doesn't care, then it rubs off on people.
And there's the ultimate sacrifice for Arsenal right there, So, naughty boy, big up yourself. Listen, anyone else want to throw in any more comments? We should get out of here. Disappointing exit.
I guess the one thing I was saying to myself is, when Arsenal plays again, I really don't want them to be happy about scoring a goal in West Brom.
No. Exactly.
I mean, that's why I want the youth to be doing that, scoring, and not any of these old timers, because you had your chance. You had 2 legs to go out there and show some emotion on the field, right? To show some fight, to show some desire, and you didn't do it. You didn't do it for 2 games. So West Brom should not be a freebie or whatever you want to call it. Let the youth have their turn. I mean, we are planning for next season, Arteta.
Mm-hmm.
Willian doesn't need to play ever again. Xhaka doesn't need to play ever again. I mean, a lot of these players, they don't need to play. You know what they can do and what they can't do. But we want to see the youth. So bring up some of those young players, let them play. Let's see what we got. Because we're in the same – we need to know whether or not we're keeping them or we're shipping them out anyway. So why not? You got 4 games, right? 4 games to let Balogun go out there and play. Aziz go out there and play. I mean, I'll take any of them. I think they'll be fine, right? So I mean, Saka and Milsroof Rowe will show them the way. So yeah. No, for me, no emotion when they play. None of the old timers. I don't want to see like a Aubameyang getting a hat trick against West Brom, kind of smiling, because that's just like upsetting.
Yeah, we want to smile again. It's been a pretty tough season, you know.
I don't want to smile like that. That'll upset me if Aubameyang hits a hat trick against West Brom.
I just like
Right
the way
now.
that Gary keeps referring to them as old timers. I've got visions of them sat on a porch, right, with like jeans that are really short and like a little clay pot.
Yeah,
I remember back when we were in the Europa League final.
when you're 30 years old, you've already hit the hill and you're coming down. You know it, right? When you're hitting like 28, 29, you're getting to the peak. It's almost over. I mean, careers are short and fast depending on where you are. So yeah, play the youth.
So what do you think, Stan? We should have a little roll call for everyone who was here tonight, and really appreciate everyone who tuned in. It's been a lively show. It's been 2.5 hours. Naughty Boy providing the entertainment. Of course, it's fine. We enjoyed your little story there about your possible options today, and you chose Arsenal. Shame.
I don't know. That doesn't sound too smart to me. He won't do that again. But guess what? We probably won't be in Europe for a while. So don't worry about it. Your Thursdays will be free. You can have all the treats you want.
Yeah.
At least for another year. Every Thursday, you can have all those treats. Put
all
sprinkles on it and everything, man.
Open. All your Thursdays are open for next season, Naughty Boy. So go for it. And we want to know. We want you to document it and come back here and let us know.
Document it. All right. Do you want to say hi to everybody in the chats? Because you got Rahul, we got Brownie, got Don Juan, the Assembled, DK, you got FIFA Boy Darren is in the house. Who else we got here? Naughty Boy, of course. Stefan is there.
Tony Tiger.
Even Alonso jumped in. You got Quick Gooner 22. That's a new one, right?
Yes. DK was here.
Got Brownie.
Yep. Brownie. We got Angel FC. Yeah, I said Brownie. Brownie was in early in the
Angel
beginning before me.
My here's buddy.
Oh, yes.
Yep. So and we may well do a fever pitch watch along if anyone's up for that. I think that would be fun, actually. Love that movie. So
I watched it again.
Yeah, I've watched it more than once, Alonso. I never get tired of it. So listen, Gary, thanks for joining.
Thank you.
Alonso, thanks for jumping in at the end.
You're
Rohan,
welcome.
big shout out to Rohan. I'll remember his tortured face because Arsenal's making him unhappy. I don't want that for Rohan. I want Rohan to be happy again. Sam and Stan, thanks for joining.
Thanks, mate. I'm still thinking of Willian standing there going to people like Emil Smith Rowe. I remember back in the Reagan administration.
I think we're going to do a freestyle podcast one of these days. We'll just put some pictures of some Arsenal players up and come up with some captions. I think that'll be fun.
That'll be fun.
Definitely the one of William looking very bewildered just as he's about to come on the pitch.
The AirPods.
The
guy and the iPads guy. We got lots there.
We got lots. All right, disappointing end to the season. The season's over. There's 4 more games. We're going to make the most of them. We're going to try and enjoy the form of games, but lots has to happen. You're all nuts. Lots has to happen. Arteta, I don't know. He's probably going to be creeping in and out of the Emirates and Colney very quietly. You know the way you sneak home with the keys? You don't want to have the floorboards creak. I think that'll be Arteta for the next 7 to 14 days. So we'll see what happens.
He may only have 4 games left in his Arsenal career.
May well have. Unfortunately, I think it's going to be. It's going to be. It's going to continue. This nightmare will continue into next season, and Stan and I will be talking about. Well, it's October. It's November.
It's Halloween. It's the horror. It's Friday. It's
Yeah.
Freddy Krueger. It's
Jason.
it's Jason.
Definitely.
Everything's coming.
Gonna be,
Here's Johnny.
it'll be that time. Thanks for watching, everyone. Has not been an easy one, but therapy hopefully has helped everyone. Hopefully you got through the whole podcast here. And listen, the energy, the final word is from me, energy has to go towards Kroenke out now. And that's where it's got to be, starting on Sunday. Kroenke out. We're out of here. Kroenke out. We're out. We'll see you on the next one. Thanks to everyone who's joined the podcast and everyone who